We are just hitting live over on my end. I'll see if we have anyone in the chat room from the very start. We've got some fun stuff to talk about today, and it's only very minorly crypto and NFTs because I am scared it's just going to turn into every week us shitting on another crypto or NFT project. But we do gaming at some point as well.
We do. We sometimes touch on that, but unfortunately, right now, and I think this just goes to show how bad the situation is. Everything is NFTs. Everywhere you look, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everybody is jumping on the bandwagon, and I think it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better.
It does need to be talked about. Unfortunately, it's horrible, but it does need to be talked about. So we'll start off in the traditional way. Callum, how are you?
I'm actually really good, thank you. I have been getting my sleep schedule sorted out because I was staying up till like 9 a.m. working on Nightmare World.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we've all been there. I've now fixed that. So I'm doing really good. How about you?
I've just realised who you remind me of in that black turtleneck and kind of chain combination.
Can I guess who your guess is going to be? Okay. Is it either going to be... It's not going to be Steve Jobs because of the chain.
No, it's not Steve Jobs. The chain does pull this together. The chain is what made me think of it.
Is it Kendrick Lamar from Humble?
No.
Because I've been told I look like him out of the video for Humble.
Now, you could probably do that, but it's not necessarily the physique that I'm going for. It's just the style. Okay. You look like Dwayne Johnson.
Oh my
God. There is a
1990s
picture of Dwayne Johnson in a black turtleneck wearing a gold chain, and what you are wearing his look right now. Google it. Google Dwayne Johnson turtleneck. If you've just joined us, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Tangent Tavern. I am Josh Strife Hayes.
Oh my God.
And Callum is distracted by the fact he looks a bit like Dwayne Johnson right now.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, he is. Can you imagine if we got him as a guest? I bet he'd do it. I bet if he had an hour free, he'd chat to us.
I'm seeing this photo for the first time ever. What happened to Dwayne? He looks completely different. But I see the comparison here.
The 90s happened, and then he got swole. He got super fit. That's what he then did. Right, we have a couple of things to chat about today. If you've not been to the Tangent Tavern before, we talk about gaming mostly, but we go off on tangents every now and again. We weren't here last week because I had some stuff to do, and of course today it is Valentine's Day. Cal, why are you free on Valentine's Day?
Many reasons. Some reason I'm having to sort out the fact that I am apparently you and you are apparently me on the stream. I don't know why that's happened. But
we'll go with it. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll go with it. But why am I free on Valentine's Day? Many reasons, I would imagine. You'd probably have to ask my exes, but...
Is it Nightmare World? Is that what it is?
Right now, yeah, that's I'll take that as a reason.
You've got women fighting for you, but you're just like, look, ladies, I am married to the grind, married to the MMO.
Yeah, I am that meme. You know where it's the guy holding a girl's hand and he's looking back?
Yes.
That's just me looking back at the Nightmare World team.
Every single project is what you're looking at. But ladies and gents, it's lovely to have you here for Valentine's Day. It's going to be a special episode. It's not. In no way will this be different. But what we have got is I've got a list of things I want to chat about. And I like getting Callum's opinions. And Callum, I'm sure you've got things you want to talk about this week.
Yes.
Straight in there. Should we start with Titanfall? TitanReach, wasn't it? Titanfall's the good one. That's the good shooter.
Well, I wouldn't say good one. That's gone a bit shit as well. But
wow. Okay, Callum's going to fight some people in the comments over saying Titanfall's bad. But TitanReach...
It's not bad. It's just... But yeah, TitanReach. We'll swiftly move on.
TitanReach is an MMORPG, or it was planned to be an MMORPG based on RuneScape. People pretty much not based on the actual, Gillenor, but the idea of grind and skills. Yeah, the feel of RuneScape in more of a 3D world. And
it was a classic MMO brought up to date.
And they started on Kickstarter, was it?
Yeah, I believe they started on Kickstarter, raised 220k. Which is not a small amount for that sort
That's
of
a
game.
Decent amount. Yeah,
but it's also not the amount to finish it. It's a good start.
No, you could make it a nice, small, kind of single-player, offline adventure game with that kind of money, but maybe not an MMORPG.
Yeah, so they did really well. They had amazing intentions from what we could tell. And they'd got a really passionate team behind it, which that's the best start you could get to on Kickstarter.
So there was nothing... Nothing out of
There's
the
nothing
ordinary.
untoward with it. They'd got a demo that you could download and play before you even backed. That was multiplayer and like fully networked properly. They did it in the best way possible.
Okay. I mean, this is sounding pretty positive so far. There's no alarm bells going off yet.
No, this is this is less of a scam story and more of a sad story.
Yeah, I don't think they set out to do this.
Takes.
No, they didn't set out to do this specifically.
No.
It just ended up having to. So, TitanReach, MMORPG, Kickstarter, successful Kickstarter, Discord, Reddit, Twitter, communicating.
It was blowing up everywhere.
It was good, wasn't it? Kira TV did a video on it. Kira TV was pretty positive about it. People are laughing, by the way, at Kira TV, saying, "Oh, he was wrong." No, he wasn't. Kira TV made the best video he could with the information he had at the time, and he did it in the best faith. You know, I truly believe that Kira wasn't. He's never tried to trick anyone. He gains nothing from lying to people. The dude is as as straight-laced and as solid as they come. He's a decent reporter. He's a really good YouTuber.
When it comes to Kira, he's just full on with when it comes to integrity.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
He's got nothing to gain in the long term, but he's got a lot to lose in the long term by not sticking to his kind of integrity.
So I've got a lot of respect for Kira TV. And what then happened was Kira made a video. This really increased interest in the kind of project. And TitanReach, it looks like it was firing on all cylinders. It was decent.
Yeah.
What then happened?
So they, after stringing it out for like 8 months of development...
Oh, people are saying... Sorry, Cal, don't mean to interrupt you. People are saying Kira put a video out on this today.
This is the one I'm on about.
Oh, I haven't seen this one yet. I've seen his original one, and I've seen his comments about the new state of TitanReach, but I haven't actually seen the exact video, so you have to fill me in with this.
Yeah, so I'll be filling in a lot of people on this, but I still recommend you go watch that video, because Kira is the only person who knows the full story behind this, and he's revealed the whole thing.
Okay.
So, after 8 months of dragging it out, they basically ran out of money. You know, a team of 15 to 20 people, full-time employment, that makes sense. The numbers add up.
I mean, that's a lot of people. I mean, how long did it... Because, I mean, 20 people, you're paying them... You've got to pay them a lot because it's networking and it's specific skills. 20 people, even at a minimum of, like, what, 20k per person? You're still looking
minimum wage, you've still run out of all this money.
Yeah, that's going to burn it through.
Yeah, and they were selling some packages for early access and stuff like that. And all of that money sort of accounted for when you just do basic, like, napkin maths. So it makes sense. They ran out of their funding. It was legit. Then they said, we're going to have to close the project down and go passion project, where we work on it with our spare time and we all go get full jobs.
Oh, difficult when you've already invested so much money into it, but it is a risk that you take.
Yeah. But they could have just cut and run at that point and said, yeah, we're not making the game, whatever. So they were continuing, and then this is where you need to suspend disbelief, because this actually did happen, despite the fact it's so wild.
Oh, I think I know about this. Carry on. You tell me what you think.
So after this announcement, somebody who had been following closely, a crypto investor, said, we will fully fund, well, this person independently, I will fully fund your project, no strings attached, just make a good game. That's all I want.
Okay, that's...
That they don't want anything back.
Now, that's the first time the alarm bells start ringing for me. Not because I'm not saying there aren't incredibly generous people out there, but wealthy people didn't get wealthy by just funding projects they were unsure on.
So, a lot of investors like this spread their bets. Okay. And they don't care if this game falls through, because they've placed their bets on about 30 games. And if only one of those succeeds mildly, it pays off all the others tenfold.
Okay.
So this is a common thing in investing, especially when it's not a company that's investing in you, and it's more of like an investor as a sole entity.
Now I'm thinking of it more of like a tax kind of dodgy thing, because then suddenly he can say to the tax man, "Oh, I invested all this money, and where's the money gone?" And that's just me being cynical.
Yeah. So I'll say this now: this investor is the victim of this story.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So he was giving them 250k a month.
Jesus.
And in like lump sums as it goes. Basically, hey, do you need an office? Do you need all this stuff? Here's your money. Go do it.
For 250k a month, I'll make you an MMO.
Yeah.
You want me? I'll learn to code.
Yeah, I'll learn to do it, exactly. And it went on, and yesterday, or like a few days ago, they announced that they had run out of money, despite this being like an endless pool of money being poured into it. And it turns out the developer wasn't being fully truthful about it.
Okay.
He had gambled the money and bought a Tesla personally for him.
So he'd used company funds that were allocated for the production of media, of content, of a game, and he'd spent company money on himself. So that Tesla would have technically been a company asset.
Yeah, but the way this seems to work is that he wasn't running a company.
Oh,
because they weren't employed.
Oh, that's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, so the money was his, but he was freelancing people to do the work for him.
Oh, that's genius. That means there's no liability.
Exactly, which is kind of what I'm doing right now when we transition into fundraising for Nightmare World. It's not worth setting up a company until you can take them on and contract them full time.
Okay.
So you just contract them as contractors to come and do work, and you pay them for their hours that month or that week. So that money was his, but it wasn't for that. And this is where it becomes a big grey area. Because he's technically by law allowed to do what he did, but it's wrong from a moral standpoint.
So I've got someone in the chat saying he did have a company, but he refused to employ us as employees, only contractors. So, Fry, if you were involved in this, it'd be fascinating to get your opinion on it as well. So what I'm guessing is that he had a company for UK tax reasons, but he didn't employ people as employees of the company. He just had independent contractors, which means he wouldn't have to pay pensions, he wouldn't have had to pay employees' insurance, healthcare.
And if it goes under, there's no severance pay or anything like that.
It's keeping people at an arm's reach. Okay.
And that's not necessarily a malicious thing to do. Small companies quite often start off that way because it's a safe way to start.
It is.
When there's an uncertain beginnings, like with theirs, where there's an anonymous investor that's no longer anonymous, and you don't know if the next pay is coming or when it's coming. It's best to hedge your bets and stay solo and contract.
Yes.
So he felt guilty for this when he'd gambled the money and bought the Tesla, and he went and straight up came clean with the investor, which, it's admirable. It's the right thing to do. And he could have very easily kept that hidden. However, the investor after that point was just like, thank you for coming clean, but I am done funding this now.
That's fair. That seems
which
okay.
Is very, very fair.
The investor hasn't demanded all his money back, has he?
No, and in fact, there was a scam where one of the employees pretended to be the CEO.
Okay.
And said, hey, can you send me 250k in crypto? I want to make sure you're legit.
Of course.
He did.
Oh, god damn. Okay, the guy's a bit foolish then.
He scammed him out of $250,000 and was eventually persuaded to give it back. But he'd apparently scammed this $250,000 because his father's health bills or something, healthcare bills, he'd got serious health problems. And do you know what this dude actually did, the investor?
Okay.
He said, just send me 200k back and use the rest to sort that out.
This investor sounds like he's either incredibly wealthy or extremely naive. Potentially both. Who knows?
Potentially both. But from what I can tell, he seems like a genuinely good guy.
Okay.
He wanted to fund a studio, but for the love of the game that it was making.
If you can piss away $250,000 on a risk, fair play. And if you give someone 250k and they feed you a sob story about, my sick parent needs the money, and you say, yeah, fine, keep 50k, that's fine, as long as you're comfortable and you're okay doing that. Feels like he's being taken advantage of a bit, but if he's happy doing that, it's his money, not mine. I
mean, here's the thing, with how much money he probably has, and we can only ever guess that, that's probably pennies to him.
Mate, if you can afford to take $250,000 a month risk, you're looking at having a couple of million in the bank, guaranteed.
Yeah. There were so many more things that came out after about his gambling addictions.
Okay.
And that came from him, not from anyone else.
Okay. So the lead dev gambled away the money he got given.
Yeah.
And he bought a Tesla.
Yeah.
Why is it always Tesla? It's always a Tesla everyone buys with this.
Do you want to know why? Because they hold value really well.
Is the symbol? Is it the letter T on the front?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I love Teslas, and I have drove them, and they are phenomenal cars. But the main thing is, because of the warranties on the one moving part in the car, that refreshes every time it's replaced by warranty, it just holds its value. Most cars, you drive off the parking lot and you've lost 20% of the value as you drive it off. I think you can still see the 2016 editions selling for like 6K less than the brand new ones.
So this developer of TitanReach pretty much took all the company money, gambled it away on his own personal addictions, bought himself a Tesla, and then is that the end of the story, or does it get better?
Well, that's currently where it's at from like a factual standpoint.
Okay.
But they're now talking about moving to NFT and blockchain.
Because that would save the game. You
here's
just say the word say the word blockchain, everyone's going to buy it.
Yeah, and I guess if they are truly out of money, this would be the only way now to fund it, because no one's going to invest in them.
It's a Hail Mary, isn't it? It's just a, hey, we're just going to sell NFTs now.
Yep. They're saying they're keeping it separate from the in-game gameplay, but yeah, I don't know. For me, it's a sad story, because the opportunity that this indie game studio was given is quite literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because I know that if we had that opportunity, it would secure the future of the thing we're doing indefinitely, but they just pissed it away.
From what I've been told as well, and this is what impressed me, there was a TitanReach subreddit, there was a TitanReach Discord, there was a Twitter, there was a forums, and all of that. And when they decided to take the game kind of offline and stop the project, they kind of nuked all of it at the same time. It was a very coordinated stop moment. And this always impresses me, because as soon as you kind of destroy any kind of social media, whether it's take down a Discord or you take down a Twitter, the people who are invested in it will flood to the other one that's still online and start to share, oh, by the way, this is going down. The fact that it all went off at the same time, and it gave everyone nowhere to go to. There was no kind of meeting point for all of these players, all these investors, which is why there's now a subreddit, I think it's like TitanReach Refugees, and people have already started making other TitanReach Discords just to kind of get all the investors together, because they've been separated, they've been spread.
Yeah. Yeah, and someone in chat says, should we use he rather than they, as it's mainly one person? Yeah, if I say they, I'm talking about the company as a whole, you know, the game as a whole, the collective. But yeah, all of this does fall on him. Yeah. As he was managing the money. And also, as Kira pointed out, the devs didn't actually know any of this until Kira's video went live, because Kira was very in touch with the lead developer of this project, and the other guys just straight up didn't know. Like, they had suspicions, but it wasn't confirmed.
There is no time ever when a YouTuber should know more about the project that you're working on than you do. Like, if you're a developer for a game, we need to come to you guys and be like, hey, what's going on? It should never, ever be a situation where a developer or an employee or someone working on a game has to go and ask a YouTuber, hey, could you tell me what's actually happening with the project that I'm working on? Like, you guys should know more than us.
Yeah. And this is happening more and more with indie studios, which I find really, really concerning, actually, because in ours, the main thing that we focus on is communication between everyone, so that everybody knows what's going on the team. And there's nothing kept under wraps unless it's something I'm preparing in secret to pitch to them, you know, when it's finished.
Yeah.
But there's never a public announcement that goes out and these guys are like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, when was this decided? Everybody knows about it. But we're seeing more and more indie games where the developers just
give me a second. I'm having a very barky dog downstairs. Let me see what Apollo is up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you in the capable hands of Callum. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay. Right, what can we do to get him banned off Twitch?
Hello.
Okay. In fact, I think when Josh gets back, just everybody say you can't hear him. Just do that. Let's just pretend his mic does not work. See how long we can get him going for. Just pure evil. Oh my god, it's a floof. Apollo
is a guard dog. The
That is the
problem...
cutest cloud I've ever seen.
The problem... Say hello, Apollo. The
Are
problem...
you talking, Josh?
I am now. You hear me now? How about now?
Hello?
How about now?
Chat saying they can't hear you either.
Okay, give me a sec. No sound. No sound. Muty sound. Oh, it's all good on my end. Yeah, give me a sec. I'll end and restart.
No, Josh, we're just messing with you.
What, can you... How dare you?
Yeah, don't restart the stream.
You actual dicks. Every single person in chat... You know what? That was a beautiful display of unity.
The coordination was on point.
That was beautiful. You all worked together. There was... Oh, that is... You know what? I'm almost impressed with the level of... the level of unity that brought out to all of you. I was looking at all the things. I was like, no, it's all working. It's all fine.
I could see the confusion setting in. Like, the numbers, what do they mean, Callum?
So, Apollo is a guard dog. The problem is that he guards us from everything, including his own farts. He'll just bark relentlessly whenever anything happens. A leaf outside, gotta bark at it. There's someone taking the bins out next door, gotta bark at it. He's gotta make sure everything gets barked at all the time. So, let's circle it back around. TitanReach.
Yes.
Unfortunate casualty to one man's addictions, it seems.
Yeah. It really is a shame, because I hadn't looked into TitanReach until this.
Yeah.
And you know what? It doesn't look like a bad game.
No,
it looks like
fine.
the sort of game I'd have genuinely enjoyed playing.
Yeah, it looked fine. And unfortunately, the people that get screwed over by it are the investors and the players. The people that gave money to make it happen and the people that wanted it to happen are always the people that get hurt by it. And that's what irritates me the most.
Yeah.
About these kind of things.
It's sad because this lead dev has essentially ruined his life, and he knows that. He said it to Kira. He was like, I realise I've absolutely pissed away an opportunity here, and I've ruined my life.
Oh, pretty much.
Which is a shame, because he is a talented person when it comes to leading these teams. I can't speak on behalf of the people he's led, but from the outside looking in, it looks like he was leading something great. Yeah,
he seemed like he had a good... he had... Oh, and Apollo's just falling asleep now. He seemed like he had a good basis to build on. Now,
yeah, absolutely.
I've got a couple of other things I want to talk about today. See, we weren't here last week, so I've just been keeping a note of all the stuff I want to talk about. And it's NFTs again. I know you hate them. Everyone hates them, but...
Yeah.
Did you hear about the Magic the Gathering NFT scandal?
Oh, no. What now?
Okay, so someone has been making NFTs of Magic the Gathering cards. The only slight problem they ran into is they don't work for Wizards of the Coast or have any legal right to make NFTs of Magic the Gathering cards at all. So when they made them, Wizards of the Coast contacted them, and Hasbro contacted them and said, can you not?
Can you please not?
Yeah, cease and desist, stop, we're taking them down. And the dude put out a statement that basically boiled down, I believe this was the exact quote, I do not know enough about copyright law to know if what I am doing is illegal. Name a better combination than crypto bros and people that don't quite understand copyright.
This just seems to be the shield that guards the realm of NFTs. It's just feign ignorance on absolutely everything, and you'll get away with it.
Ignorance, unfortunately, in the real world is not a defence for crime. Sorry, officer, I didn't know that what I was doing is illegal is not a defence in court. You cannot plead ignorance. I didn't know that stabbing another guy was against the law. The policeman's not going to know. That's fine. He didn't know. Nobody taught you. You clearly skipped that lesson in school. Off you go. Yeah. So they've pretty much been kind of bent over a barrel with this, and now they're just not sure what to do. They're floundering. They're not sure what to do. So Magic the Gathering NFTs have happened, but they're not actually official Magic the Gathering cards. Let's go on to the next one. Lost Ark. Have you played it yet?
I haven't, but I've heard it's been both fantastic and disastrous at the same time.
So, yeah, Lost Ark, from what I've been told, really good gameplay experience. People cannot stop arguing over whether it's pay to win or not. they cannot agree. Everyone is saying that it is. Everyone is saying that it isn't. People are saying it doesn't matter if it is. It doesn't matter if it isn't. Personally, I want to get your opinion on this as well, Cal. You can like a game even if it's pay to win, and you can dislike pay to win as a system.
Yeah.
As soon as someone says, "Oh, that game's pay to win, therefore I hate it," you can hate the aspect of pay to win, but the game itself, the experience, can still be fun. You can find enjoyment within it. Cal, what do you think pay to win is? Because everyone's tried to define it. How would you define it?
I would define it that, let's use me and you as an example. If we both start playing the same game and I can use money to accelerate further ahead than you and have better things than you, it is pay to win.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether you can still obtain those things. It is pay to win. If our time investments do not equal the same output with money involved, it's pay to win. That's my take on it.
I agree with you. Now, one thing that I decided to make sure I put into my definition is people have said, oh, surely RuneScape membership is pay to win. Surely buying an expansion in Guild Wars 2 is pay to win. Because if you're a member in RuneScape and I'm not, you're going to gain far more experience. And my comeback to that would be, I don't think buying a limited amount of content is pay to win. I think for it to be pay to win, there has to be a constant and almost like a no ceiling correlation between money in and advantage gained. If I put £10 in for membership and you put £10 in for membership and neither of us can put any more money in, that's not necessarily paying to win, that's paying to play more of the game.
Yeah. And there's a really important element to that I think a lot of people forget. It's not you're paying to get extra stuff. They're offering you a free version to test before you buy.
Yeah, so with pay to win, it's more money always and constantly equals more power. With just buying expansions, it's more money gives you access to a large but limited amount of content that everyone else has access to as well.
Yeah.
That's why
Good question in the chat based on that. Are RuneScape bonds pay to win?
Yes.
And that's where I think that's a kind of grey area.
I would say yes. Straight up yes.
I would lean towards yes with it. But I understand why they did it.
Yes.
It's had a positive and a negative impact, but the positive impact, I think, has outweighed the negative.
Yeah. The problem with having any kind of online discussion or debate, and again, I don't necessarily like the word debate because people think you need to win a debate, when the reality is it's multiple people all trying to come to a collective agreed upon truth. Whenever you see a discussion of anything where there's like an A and B binary, it either has to be all A or all B. It has to be all good or all bad. But actually the reality is it's multiple bits of this framework all at the same time. So when they brought out bonds, yes, they did introduce a massive amount of pay to win into old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3. However, they took a hell of a lot of custom away from the botting sites and the
gold sellers
and they kept a lot of people's accounts much safer by having them buy gold from Jagex instead of buying gold from the black market, which can be seen as a positive. So there is no 100% positive or negative choice made in game development.
And bonds also added something that gold selling didn't take care of, which was if somebody's buying bonds, like let's say you, Josh, are buying bonds to sell for gold in the game, so you're spending real money, putting it into, and gaining gold back out of that. That token can be redeemed for membership when I spend that gold. So it's kind of the case that it's not money being injected in to inflate things. It's just being traded around.
It is.
And while that is the same with gold sellers, it's money that was made in the game. It's not made through harmful means. Or less made through harmful means. And it's just a bit more friendly because you're not seeing as many bots running around. Like, it did have a massive impact on that.
I would say it's me when people have said, is this game pay to win? And people go, yes, but, and then they would go on to provide a more nuanced explanation, and people's immediate reaction is, well, I'm not playing it then. As soon as you say yes, I'm not playing it. If a game is pay to win, it must instantly be bad. No, a system can be bad, and we can dislike it, but we can still enjoy the actual gameplay experience that's built around it. That's fine. You can still dislike a mechanic, especially a monetization mechanic, while you enjoy the experience that mechanic is attached to. I like Neverwinter. It's pay to win as hell. I like Magic the Gathering. That's very pay to win. I like Warhammer. That's pay to win as well.
Yeah.
People see this game is pay to win as therefore the game is bad.
Yeah.
When in reality, you have to ask yourself, how many people in the world are actually going to play an MMORPG in an attempt to become the greatest player in the world?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say many.
No. In fact, we had a discussion that led to a really interesting kind of conspiracy about games and gold sellers. So we were talking about potential ways to stop gold selling and gold buying in Nightmare World. Because it's going to happen in every game where trading is. You cannot do anything about outside trading.
Yeah.
And I said, why don't we set up a bot? And by the way, none of this is confirmed that we're going to do it. But I said, why don't we set up a bot that lists gold on all the top sites and instantly bans the players based on the username that buy it? And then this led to something where someone says, wait, I just thought about this. Some MMOs could actually be selling their gold on external sites.
I have no doubt that's true.
I'm convinced it is happening with some, because if it's a greedy kind of company that's running the MMO, it's kind of like NFTs. It's free to do. You're selling people something that cost you nothing.
Oh, God, yeah.
For a large sum of money. And then you could even still ban them for real-world trading.
Because
it's interesting.
You own the... I mean, there was a case a couple of years ago where two lads effectively bullied another guy into trading his RuneScape party hat over to them. And the kid that was forced to do the trade pretty much took them to court over it and said, look, that was my property. And the judge had to rule, is it? Is digital property your property in the game? That's, I mean, because cases in England set precedent. As soon as a judge rules in something, every case in the future can then use it as an example of that thing. So is your account yours? And are things on that account also yours? Because if they are, suddenly they have real value. Suddenly companies don't... I think the outcome of that case was the judge ruled that they did have to return the property. Yeah. They did have to return it.
Yeah, there's been 3 major cases with Jagex where they've been taken into court for this. One was a girlfriend who split up because of cheating, logged into his laptop, traded all his stuff over to a new account she'd made, and just sold it because she knew it had real-world value. Yeah. And they ruled in favour of him because the issue with this is game developers don't want their in-game assets to have real-world value.
They don't.
They don't. They want it to have a time commitment value, which will be tied to in-game currency. But people are always going to attribute time to money, because time is money. Yep. So everything in a game will always have a real-world monetary value, even if it's not allowed. So it's kind of strange. And for those who don't know, that's how the price of gold is determined on selling sites. Yeah. If the minimum wage in the UK is like £9 an hour, and 1,000 gold takes me an hour to make, you're buying it for £9.
People in the chat have said some MMOs have clauses in the terms of service that say items and accounts belong to the company. One of the reasons that companies will not ever acknowledge the real value of any item, and this is also why... Have you noticed how Jagex sell bonds, which they know have a certain amount of gold value, which they know you'll be able to sell on the Grand Exchange for gold, and then they know you'll be able to buy stuff. But why don't Jagex just directly sell Bandos Tassets? Why don't they just directly sell an Armadale Godsword? Why not just sell an item for a price? And the reason for this is, as soon as they say this item is worth this much, they have established an actual value to it. By saying a bond is worth this much, but the price fluctuates based on what players are willing to pay, they have not attributed a guaranteed value to a certain amount of gold. And one of the reasons they do this is they don't want to be seen as gambling.
No, exactly. And there's another thing. If you start I think this is another big grey area. If you start classing digital goods as like a monetary value, game companies have an infinite supply of that.
Yep.
They're now holding assets and shares and securities essentially, and they have an infinite amount of it. So how do you rule that?
If RuneScape did start selling Bandos assets for £7 or £8 on the site, and you could just buy it straight away, what's the bet they're just going to start selling Bandos assets all the time? This is actually what we've seen a lot of other games do. They just start straight up selling power. This is actually kind of connected via a tangent to why Magic the Gathering cannot sell individual cards for individual prices. And they cannot. Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast absolutely legally cannot acknowledge the second-hand Magic the Gathering market. Because as soon as they acknowledge that any individual card has a price higher or lower than any other individual card,
it's gambling.
Every single booster pack they sell has to be ruled as gambling.
Yeah, and there's a court case at the moment, which is, well, I don't think it's actually gone to court yet, but it's a really big grey area. So I've mentioned this before, crypto.com, you've probably seen it advertised everywhere, have got this thing where every time you buy X amount of currency or make X amount of trades, you get rewarded gems in the app. And you can buy basically a loot box. They don't call it that. And you can open it and get a random amount of CRO tokens.
Yep.
But it doesn't have a fixed value, so they can do that. It's not gambling, because essentially you're getting out equivalent to what you put in, but it has a perceived value.
Yeah. See, what is and isn't gambling is so heavily contested, because the people who know gambling is addictive and people are going to want to gamble want to class everything as not gambling, because they can get as close to it practically as they can without legally going over into any kind of tax threshold. And the people who know actually gambling is very addictive and can be very damaging to a lot of people's lives, this is why they want to go and class everything as gambling. Is buying a loot box in a game gambling? And that's when the companies had to turn around and say, well, no, it's not, because nothing in the loot box is any more or less valuable than anything else in the loot box. That's why they said surprise mechanics.
And this can go layers deeper as well, because let's use this as an example. You can buy membership to get money, which is spent with your real time in RuneScape, right? You can then use that money to buy birds' nests off the Grand Exchange, and you can open them for a chance to get good things in the bird's nest. Is that gambling by proxy? Because, I mean, anything with RNG could be at that point. So drawing a line is going to be very hard.
And one of the reasons that the law is so difficult is people think that the law is absolutely 100% concrete iron all the time. It's not. I mean, the reason we have lawyers at all is because the law is often in flux with definitions of things. If the law was just completely ironclad and no one could ever get it wrong or make a mistake, we wouldn't need lawyers. You would just sit down, everyone would read a book, collectively agree on what's the correct thing to do and go with that. The reason we have lawyers at all is so your interpretation of the law can be beneficial to you. People have said, was the Jewel Arena gambling? Because the people that were making a lot of money on the Jewel Arena wanted you to think, no, it's not. And the people that were losing and realised how dangerous said, actually, yes, this is gambling. There's no definitive 100% ironclad law that everyone agrees upon. We've got to discuss every single one. That's the crazy thing. That is the crazy thing about it.
And keeping it on with the Duel Arena, one of the really big problems there is if you're using legitimately obtained in-game money that you have only invested time into and you gamble that, I would say that's fine. I think a lot of people would agree. You're gambling something that you've only put time into. And, I mean, we all gamble time every day with different things, but all that will save you in RuneScape is more time. But when real-world trading comes in, which isn't a supported feature of the game, it's, you know, disencouraged or discouraged, it's a whole nother question.
Is there a little Timmy somewhere with his mum's credit card buying £50 worth of black market gold to then throw it away at the jewel arena because he doesn't know how to prayer flick. And then his mum finds out, discovers that he's done this, and kicks up a fuss about it being gambling. And suddenly then you've got a load of parents on Mum's Net all demanding Jagex take down the jewel arena because it's gambling. And suddenly you've then got a very, very bad bit of public relations to deal with. And people don't like nuanced, genuine conversation. People don't want you to come out and say, well, actually, this is a multifaceted issue. People want a definite, just like we were saying earlier, A or B, yes or no. The mob does not think. A person is intelligent. People are not. As soon as you get a group of people calling for anything, especially reform in any way, then it has to be fast, now, immediate. Is it gambling? Is it not gambling? Work it out.
From what I've been told, that is actually what happened with the duel arena.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kids were using credit cards, debit cards that they couldn't pay off, and they were gambling money they didn't have with the hopes of selling. Well, there was one case that I remember hearing about where somebody took out a loan for 2k. They gambled it all after buying bonds. And then when they went to sell the money that they had won, so, you know, getting like 4 to 6k, they got flagged for selling gold and they got banned. And then the argument was they spent money on something and you have taken it away from them. So the argument, like you say, is multifaceted. There are so many angles to this.
It is.
Because they bought it through Jagex.
Yeah, and that's the danger. The danger is Jagex sold them gold. They took part in an in-game thing. They won more gold. They went to sell the gold on. They lost everything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a complicated situation, isn't it?
Yeah, there's like, 30 different variations of how the gold could have come into the game, come into the player's hands, and how it left the player's hands. And most of those will land you at a net negative.
Yeah. Talking about gambling, I've got a long list of things I want to chat through today. We might not be able to get too into any specific thing unless we go off on a massive tangent, but this connects to gambling. Have you seen that there was meant to be a boxing match between, I think it was Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
Yeah, I'd heard about that.
And Mike Tyson has pulled out of it.
Oh.
He's just said that it's not ready. If you're in the chat, by the way, so it is Jake Paul, isn't it? Because Logan
Paul's the boxer.
It's Logan the boxer. I can never tell them apart. So Logan Paul is the boxer, or is it Jake the boxer? I would ask someone in chat to Google it, but I don't wish that on any of you, to be honest. It's Jake, apparently.
Oh, both of them box. Okay.
Oh, both. Jake Paul is the better one. Okay, one of them. One of the Paul brothers basically challenged Mike Tyson to a fight. Iron Mike, one of the greatest boxers of all time. One of the most dangerous men on the planet. And this kid basically said, hey, I'll fight you. Now, both Jake and Paul are accomplished boxers, to be fair. They know the basics. They've got decent footwork. They can hold their own in a ring. You know, that they're not amateurs.
They're not going to get battered, yeah.
No, they know what they're doing. Now, I still think that Mike Tyson, even though he's like 50, would floor them.
He'd floor both of them.
I still think he would win this fight because he is just ridiculously good at fighting. But he has basically said no. I mean, I think it was meant to be a $50 million prize fight. Yeah, $50 million. That's a lot. And Mike basically said, I don't want to do it because in order to get into the shape that I would want to be in, I would have to go back into so much training. He'd have to be in training for like a year or two. And he's just not too bothered about it right now. It's not something he wants to get into.
I think I know what the reason might actually be.
Yeah, I've got two ideas.
It basically, I think they're paying them to lose to make a good, entertaining fight.
Yeah.
And he's probably got so far into this contract that he's realised, okay, they want me to lose my title for entertainment purposes, but he's not allowed to say that. So I'm wondering if that's the case.
I don't think Mike looks good no matter what happens with this fight. That's the problem. I mean, if Mike were to lose, he goes down in history as losing to a YouTuber, even though he's a lot older. If Mike were to win, he goes down in history as beating up a child. So it's very, very difficult to see how this fight plays out in Mike's favour. no matter what the actual outcome of it is, he either looks bad or looks bad. I don't think this is necessarily...
It's a lose-lose.
Yeah, it's lose-lose. I don't think that Jake or... I mean, if it were Mike in his prime, that'd be great. I'd happily sit and watch Jake and or Logan both at the same time try and fight Mike Tyson in his prime. I'd pay for that.
Oh, gotcha.
I still think he'd win.
He would.
I still think Mike Tyson would be able to take on both at the same time. I definitely think
he'd win.
Yeah. Jake Paul did just KO an MMA champ who was younger than Mike Tyson. True, but the MMO champ was a little bit lighter weight, wasn't he? Not saying he's not incredibly good at fighting. Both Jake and Logan are very good, but Mike Tyson is on a different level. Like, you watch any of Mike's old fights, you're just watching and thinking, this human is built to punch people. Like, it's like if we built the Terminator and we stopped after we gave it the punching commands. And then we went, that's pretty much all he needs. Yeah. Do we want the driving commands? Do we want the flying commands? No, just make him punch really, really fast and really well and give him some decent footwork. That's pretty much it. So Mike was ridiculous.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be locked in a room with him.
Yeah. Now, what else have we got going on? Oh, some good news. Some good news. In fact, one bit of really good news for me personally before I get on to good news for us together.
Ah, yes.
I've been contacted by a sponsor who wants to put a sponsorship link on my videos. And I'm totally okay with it because I asked the community and they said go for it. I was contacted by Good Old Games. Or GOG.com.
Galaxy of Games.
Yeah. I call them Good Old Games because that's what they used to be called. But
GOG. I didn't realise they'd swapped.
Yeah, GOG.
That's awesome.
So basically, I got an email from GOG and I'm like, hey, can we sponsor your games? I'm like, yeah, what do you want to do? Do I need to shout you out in every video? And they went, no, just put a link. Let's say that I'm playing a game that's available on GOG. All they want in the video description is a line, you can buy this on GOG, and then a link.
That's actually really good.
And that's it.
Better than the sponsorships I've been getting.
What have you been getting, Cal? Who's been contacting you? Is it NFTs and crypto?
No, people aren't going to believe this. I was reached out today,
mate. Hang on, is it? Come on, I got one as well.
OnlyFans.
Same.
Yeah, so you know I'm not BSing about this.
Yes, I legit.
Basically, like, do you want to put your sausage on the internet? It will make you a lot of money. And I'm thinking, you haven't seen my sausage. You don't know it's going to make a lot of money.
He's not lying. I woke up. I tweeted this morning. I woke up to an email from OnlyFans, and I forget the dude's name, but he basically said, "Hey, we've got like a gaming and a live."
Jack?
It might be Jack. Hang on, are we?
Because I noticed he'd followed both me and you at the same time.
It's Jack. Oh, good old Jack. Should we get him on one day? So, yeah, hey, Josh. Basically, I emailed him back. He said he's the official talent executive for OnlyFans, specializing in the gaming and lifestyle category. He wants to offer me the opportunity to embark on a journey of enhancing my earning potential. Same for you, Carl, as well.
I'm tempted to take it, to be honest. My life's got to that point.
Well, I replied to Jack. I said, happy to chat with you, but I don't feel like I have much to offer your site. I already have a Patreon, and those backers don't get anything at all. Oh, by the way, if you support me on Patreon, you get nothing. If you don't support me on Patreon, and you want to, you get nothing. I'm going to set expectations right now. Nothing happens. You just get to give me money. That's it. But I think OnlyFans are trying to transition into like a family-friendly content site. Do you think they're going to do it? Because OnlyFans is synonymous with porn.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to pull it off because before I'd even open the email, I was like, oh, here we go.
People who don't even know what OnlyFans is know what OnlyFans is. People who have never, ever gone to the site will still say to someone, oh, you should start an OnlyFans. Like, it's become so connected with people taking their clothes off for money that they're not going to be able to transition away from that. That's it.
Yeah. And they were trying to push features in this email about, like, the pay-per-view and everything. I'm thinking, who's going to pay-per-view to see me say something like, well, this NFT is shit. And that's it. Like, no one's going to pay for that. Well, maybe people might.
That was the content right there. You guys just got a free view of Callum's OnlyFans pay-per-view style content. See,
so if you want to support my OnlyFans, link in the description.
So one of the things in the email to me, it said you can do one-to-one training with people. So if you're like a massive fan of mine and you want me to do like a one-to-one training session with you, you can pay for it. Okay, can you imagine that on RuneScape? Okay, now click the tree. Click the tree again. Keep clicking the tree. Now go to the bank. Put all.
Go to the dual arena, and you could double it.
Deposit all. Now go back to the tree, and now repeat that for the next 40 hours. And they're like, Josh, are you gonna say anything else? Like, nope. I'm just gonna sit here. You paid for an hour of my time. I'm gonna sit here and watch you. Train me harder. Can you imagine that? Oh, but no. So
it's like a daddy-dom relationship on RuneScape.
It is. Can you imagine that? Dominating someone on RuneScape training. Drop the shark. But I want to put it in the bank. You do what I say. Drop the shark and go and fish another one. We're going to keep going until we get barbarian fishing. Stick your hand in the water. Let a shark bite it. That's what we need to do. See? That's what we've got. There's a lot of people on the chat now. Maybe OnlyFans had the right idea.
Yeah, maybe. Someone says Theatre of Blood learners on Callum's OnlyFans. You don't want me to teach you Theatre of Blood, trust me. You really don't.
So yes, OnlyFans reached out to both of us and said, hey, can you put some content on our site? Even if I have a conversation with Jack, I'm going to be like, Jack, have you been on the site? Do you know what it is, Jack? Do you understand what people think when they hear it? I mean, you may as well just put like guide videos on Pornhub.
Unless we do what that guy did on Pornhub, where it was he titled all his videos so that the bit that displays seems really sexual, and then the rest of the title when you click it is it's something like my stepsister walks in on me watching porn and then proceeds to quickly leave and shut the door, and it's just like a setup of his stepsister walking in the door going, oh, I'm sorry, turning around and shutting the door again.
I've seen that, dude. Like that. Didn't he get like a hoodie sent to him or something from Pornhub who were like, it was really funny, like, I ask you out and you say no and I respectfully walk away, and it's just like absolutely fine. So yeah, there's stuff with that. He got a jacket, didn't he? He definitely got a jacket for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that the Good Old Games sponsorship, or the Galaxy of Games sponsorship. So the second channel, Josh Strife Plays, the one where I'm playing old games. I've recently finished Tenchu. Did you ever play Tenchu on the PlayStation 1?
I haven't, no.
Oh, man, amazing ninja game. A really short ninja game. Finished the whole game in about 4 hours, but I played through both stories, so 8 hours in total. But I finished Tenchu, and I thought one game that I remember having on the PlayStation 1 was a really, really difficult adventure game called Death Trap Dungeon. Now, did you ever have any fighting fantasy novels? And these were the kind of books, and it was like, if you want to turn left, turn to page blah, blah, blah. If you want to go right, turn to page blah, blah, blah.
I can't remember what it was called. It was something Quest, and it was, I think it was called Dragon Quest, actually. Okay. A series of books that were basically that. So I loved them.
The first one was like The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. And the book that I had was called Death Trap Dungeon. And Death Trap Dungeon was written by a guy called Ian Livingstone. And Ian Livingstone, together with Steve Jackson and somebody else, founded Games Workshop. So all the Warhammer people, they pretty much started it. But Ian Livingstone wrote this Death Trap Dungeon, and Death Trap Dungeon got turned into a PC game. And the PC game got ported to the PlayStation 1. And I played Death Trap Dungeon on the PlayStation 1. Hard as nails. You're talking like the original Dark Souls here. This game was brutal. And I was reading, and it said Death Trap Dungeon, 30 levels. Well, that's pretty good. And then I realised that you can get Death Trap Dungeon on PC. But it's only got 6 levels. Oh, that's a bit weird. Turns out that the levels on PC were so much longer than the PlayStation, they had to actually divide the PlayStation down into smaller segments.
Oh,
so on the PC, you've got like the Spire level, and on PlayStation, you've got Spire 1, Spire 2, Spire 3, Spire 4, and Spire 5. It's just the Spire, but they couldn't physically fit it all on the same thing.
Yeah, it's like WoW did with Blackrock Depths, was it? There was the upper and lower, because you physically couldn't load it all into memory.
So when I was talking to the Good Old Games guy this morning, I actually said I'm planning on doing Death Trap Dungeon for a review, and I can see that Death Trap Dungeon is £5 on Good Old Games. When I put the video out, would we be able to correlate some kind of stuff where you guys do like a 90% or an 85% off sale for the game. So people watch the video, want to play the game is cheap as hell.
Yeah.
And the dude said, yeah, and then he just sent me a code for the game immediately. He's like, when you play the game, here's a code. And then they said to me, and I really appreciated this, they said, if you ever want to review a game that's on Good Old Games, let me know what the game is, and I will just give you a code. So I'm like...
That's really good.
I'm like, if you want to give me 100 codes to Cyberpunk right now, that'd be great.
That'd be fantastic.
I didn't ask that. Can you imagine?
That would be a bit much.
But there's another dude, guy on YouTube called Mandalore Gaming. I don't know if you guys watch Mandalore Gaming, but he is sponsored by Good Old Games for some of his stuff. So Mandalore Gaming actually contacts GOG and say, hey, I'm putting out a video on this game. This game is on GOG. Can you, for the next 2 weeks, have the game on like a 60% off sale for the viewers of my video? And they went, yeah, that's fine. So that's
actually really nice.
That's really cool. As soon as I did that, I'm like, sweet. So I'm super, super on board with that. That was the good news for me. The good news for us, Cal.
Yes.
Do you want to fill people in?
Yeah. So me, Josh, and 2 other content creators. It's Billy Tricks, isn't it?
Billy
on
Tricks
socials.
And Rage Darling. Yeah.
And Rage Darling. All 4 of us are going to be doing an impromptu D&D session at Insomnia in April in the UK on stage.
So Insomnia Fest is the largest LAN event in the UK. It's a massive gaming event. It's at the NEC in Birmingham, and they book out 4 of the NEC's biggest halls. And they have an esports stage with professional esports casters. They have a secondary stage where they have like panels and stuff and people that talk, industry professionals and whatnot. And normally the YouTubers they have are Syndicate goes down and Preach Gaming goes down. And,
I love Preach.
Yeah, Dan Bull, the rapper, he goes down as well. So there's a lot of people that go down and stuff. And there's a massive LAN event, absolutely huge LAN event. You're talking, hundreds, potentially thousands of computers all linked up. You bring your own computer.
I think its capacity is a minimum of like it can at least fit 400 to 500.
Yeah, that's
players
incredible.
in there, which is huge.
Yeah, so they bring down all the computers. There's also a camping room. People just stay overnight. It's a 4-day event. So you've got, was it Thursday, Friday, Saturday? No, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, isn't it? But the Monday's kind of a half day.
A wind down day.
Yeah, no one really does the Monday. So Insomnia Fest, it was meant to be 65 was the last one that happened. Insomnia 65. 66, 67 got missed because of lockdown restrictions in the UK, and now they are back with 68. So what I can guarantee is this: I will be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I don't yet know. What days are you there, Cal? Are you there all 4?
I can be there at all 4. If I'm needed there for all 4, I will be there.
Yeah.
But I will at least be there on the weekend.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday are the big ones to hit. Those are the big days. Now, I know that on Saturday there was a massive cosplay competition, like a huge cosplay competition, and they've discussed the potential of me doing some kind of hosting with that. So that I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be awesome. Because,
it would.
Because I've got a Nathan Drake cosplay, and Tom Holland had his chance. Sony fucked that up.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there has any ties to Sony, and you've got the potential to just pull a producer aside and say, hey, maybe we should... Look, Uncharted 1, the game, was bad. Uncharted 1, the film, was bad. Uncharted 2, the game, was amazing.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do this. Maybe, I'll do Nathan Drake. I've got the costume. We'll reshoot it. Tom Holland's not a bad actor. The problem is that he is Spider-Man. He is the internet's twink. That's what he is. He is young forever. He's a vampire. He is forever young, small, lovely, twinky boy. That's what he is.
Yep.
He is not badass action hero. He's not Nathan Fillion. If you haven't seen the fan film of Uncharted with Nathan Fillion, that was fantastic. That was absolutely phenomenal.
seen that.
Oh, it's so good. I'll send you the link. So, Insomnia, they asked myself and Cal if we would do a Dungeons and Dragons game. And someone just said, is it on the second stage?
Oh, yes.
Yes, it is. Okay, don't laugh at that. I cried myself to sleep last night because of it, so don't laugh at it.
Yeah,
So yeah, they basically contacted us and said, hey, can you do an impromptu D&D game? Yes, we can. So I will be dungeon mastering, and Rage Darling, Billy Tricks, and Callum will be playing characters. We'll be taking suggestions from the audience. I'll be making up a scenario in my head and throwing the D&D session out to the characters. Now, Cal, you'd never played D&D before, had you?
Nope.
So what we did was we had an impromptu kind of practice session. We got myself, Cal, Rage, and Billy on a Discord call, and I just explained to them how D&D worked and stuff. Cal, how did you find it?
It was kind of exactly how I thought it was going to be, which was good. I'd been doing a lot of research by watching Critical Role, and I was actually really excited to jump in and do a test game. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. You're a brilliant improviser when it comes to me throwing a situation that I want to do at you that you definitely hadn't anticipated, and then just playing into it. It worked really well. Like, the four of us just clicked.
I mean, we had fun, didn't we? Because
oh yeah,
we aren't planning the session that you're going to see. If you're going to be at Insomnia, I can guarantee the session that you see won't have been planned. What we were planning and what we were training was how to improvise, how to use combat roles, how to defeat certain enemies, how to
use the environment.
Yeah, use the environment in fighting. So we weren't planning the session, we were planning the techniques that you'll use within the session. Now, someone in the chat has already put, oh no, the Mercer effect. I explained the Mercer effect to you, didn't I, Callum? Have you heard of that before? The idea that Matthew Mercer is an incredible DM, but everyone who plays Dungeons & Dragons now thinks that if you aren't DMing like Matt Mercer, you're DMing wrong.
Yeah.
I think every single person on Critical Role is a professional voice actor and a professional actor. A professional, at everything. They're so damn good. Watching a session of D&D and a session of Critical Role and expecting every D&D session to be like that is like watching The Matrix and then going to a martial arts class and hoping that it's like that.
Yeah, so I wasn't watching Critical Role to learn like acting techniques or anything. I've literally never played D&D, so for me it was to understand how D&D works as a system, not so much the people around them.
Yeah, people focus on their DM and not themselves as players. That's very true. That is very, very true. People think that it's the DM's job to guide the story along and to make the story happen and to just kind of react passively to whatever they do. I see my job as a dungeon master as keeping the world that the players want to exist in consistent.
Yeah.
And playing the NPCs in a believable and humorous way. It's not my job to railroad them. It's not my job to force them. It's my job as a dungeon master to provide the players with a wealth of possibilities and let them choose and go down and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah. And you did a really, really good job of that. Thank you.
And I'm very much looking forward to it. So what else do we know is going to be at Insomnia? You know what's really irritating me is
there's no news on anything,
is there? There's no news. There's an Insomnia Discord, there's an Insomnia Twitter, there's an Insomnia website, and they haven't released news of pretty much anything. I want to know who else is there. I want to know who I can go and meet. And I'm sure there's some massive people that I respect and I want to go and say hi to.
I mean, the only bright side to this is that if it does fall through, we won't be second stage content.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
Yeah, main stage content, Josh.
So what I've been told before is this. I was being told, they've tried to do live board games and live kind of like tabletop games at Insomnia before. The problem was they had a couple of Minecraft YouTubers and they had a couple of first-person shooter YouTubers playing One Night Ultimate Werewolf on the main stage. Now, One Night Ultimate Werewolf is an okay game. It's kind of like a slightly different version of Resistance, which is one of my favourite board games ever made. Resistance. I'll bring Resistance, Cal. We're going to play it. It's fantastic. We'll get 3 more people.
Okay.
We'll just grab 3 random people. It'll be fine. The problem with it, what they were doing before, was the people they had playing were more interested in trying to be silly than make an actual coherent game that would entertain the audience. So you imagine that these YouTubers were aiming at an average audience demographic of like 13 to 17, and it was just more of a silly, let's mess around, let's do some stupid stuff kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're very, very hesitant to put us on the main stage, because they don't know how we'll do. When we do this imagination game based on D&D, we're going to make it as entertaining for the audience as we can. This isn't about us pissing around. This is about us entertaining you guys the best we can. We're going to earn our keep when we entertain you guys. I guarantee that.
I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it will actually be my first time on a stage.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I've never been on a stage at all, I don't think.
You've never been on a stage. Cal, we're going to...
No.
You also wanted to come down in cosplay, didn't you, because of your D&D character?
Yes. I'm still planning that out.
Do you want...
I've got some good ideas.
Is that going to be a surprise, or do you want to discuss it now? Surprise for the people that come there?
The character or the outfit?
Go for the character. Let us know the character.
Yeah. So the character's going to be a human monk. So it's going to be very, like, Oriental themed. I've got some cool ideas, but I won't spoil those.
It's going to be silly.
It's going to be silly, yeah.
It's going to be entertaining. Now, here's the thing that I'm worried about. If you're in the chat, by the way, and you're going to be at Insomnia, let us know. That'd be really cool. This is the one thing that I'm worried about. They've told us that the room that we have in order to host this D&D game for maybe an hour and a half, can only seat 80 people. 80. It's two possibilities that are going to happen. Either no one's going to turn up and we're going to have like 4 or 5 people in the audience of an 80-person room, or there's going to be a queue.
Yeah. I don't see any kind of in-between scenario here.
Yeah.
Either there's going to be something more interesting on for the majority of people, or with us both being UK-based, there's enough people that want to come and meet us or watch the event that it's going to be backlogged out the door.
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, I've said if there is a queue and if we can't perform to entertain as many people as we can, we'll do it again. Yeah. Put us on the same one. I'd love there to be a queue, just purely for my own ego, to be honest.
Oh, but yeah.
I would love it. I've been DMing for a long time. People are asking if the game will be live streamed. I don't know. I would love it to be.
Yeah.
It would be amazing if it was live streamed. I don't know what their camera setup is. I don't know what their kind of live streaming. There'll be companies there that are live streaming. There'll be big live streamers, but I don't know if it's going to be live streamed from this room specifically. If it's not, we can probably get people to film it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm bringing someone with me, so we could definitely do that. Fairy King says in chat, to be fair, if you're just playing it for fun, doesn't matter how many people turn up. Now, that's true. But what we want to do is, because of how disastrous the previous tabletop games have been at Insomnia, they've kind of hit that nail on the head. It's done. So we want this to go successfully so that they will bring RPG tabletop games back to Insomnia, because they are good and they do have a very large audience. We want it to go well for the kind of fandom to get back into it at Insomnia.
We would love to have the main stage. Yeah. I would absolutely love the chance to entertain the customers of Insomnia on the main stage with Callum and with some other YouTubers. That'd be amazing. But in order to prove that we are capable of doing that, they were going to give us a small stage first, because they don't know how good a DM or how bad a DM I am. They don't know how good a player Callum is yet. This is them kind of giving us a chance to entertain you guys, and I guarantee we're going to knock it out of the park. It's going to be freaking amazing.
This actually gave me an idea. If it does go really well, Josh, I would actually like to... I don't know how our schedules are looking for this, but I'd actually like to start a stream version of a tabletop
Are we going to turn it into the Tangent Tabletop?
Well, I had a better idea for the name, and I think I told you this. If we get all British people, we can call it Britical Roll.
I bet you the Spiffing Brit would do it.
Yeah.
I guarantee he'd be up for it. Oh my god, can you imagine Britical Roll?
Britical Roll.
Oh,
I'd have to be, instead of no's and ouches in the chat.
See, you're getting no's. My chat is entirely yes. Everyone is agreeing with it. All of your chat's like, no, Callum, how dare you? Everyone in here is like, I'm in. We're doing it. It's happening. Let's make
canon now.
We're going to make the NFTs. We're going to sell them. It's going to kickstart it. It's going to be great. Yes,
it's going to be.
The theme song is like a 5-minute rendition of Rule Britannia that we start every session with, and we just stand up and salute the flag, eating a Greg's sausage roll.
When did Cal become a dad? Apparently all I do now is dad jokes.
Dad jokes are the good type of jokes.
Yeah, they're the best type. They're the only type.
I mean, I will happily have some other people on. I will do a D&D session. I will run a D&D session for other people if want to. The reason that I've not done it before is because it's hard to find 3 or 4 people free at the same time.
And consistently.
And people who are good at acting and entertaining. Because a lot of people who want to play D&D don't realise that it's actually their responsibility as well to be good players.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If we can get the people to do this, I am all in. I'd love it.
D&D sessions on the OnlyFans.
Oh my god.
There we go.
That's amazing.
Oh, that could happen.
Actually, we could have it. They're uploaded in 5-second clips. And to see what the dice roll was that I just did, you've got to do a pay-per-view.
Dungeon Master on OnlyFans.
Oh no.
Oh, can you imagine that? The cover picture for the OnlyFans album is like Dungeon Master, and
it's us all stood back to back like that.
Yeah, and we've got like, you know, full on leather, and there's whips, and there's like a gimp mask going on, and then when you actually
equipment hung up in the background.
But when you actually go into it, it's just all of us in like hoodies and t-shirts sat around a table just playing D&D for like 5 hours.
Oh god, someone in my chat says Dungeons and Daddies.
Yes.
I like that.
I made a board game a while back about, in Dungeons and Dragons, you always burn down the tavern. So I made a board game about being a tavern owner, and your job is to stop parties of adventurers who want to keep starting fights in your tavern. And it's called Luncheons and Flagons, which I was really impressed with that name when I came up with it.
We could turn that into a mobile game, Josh.
We could definitely do that. In fact, you can make mobile games, can't you?
Yeah.
There we go.
I started out making mobile games, so
we can definitely do that. I've got a project for you in the future. Definitely got a project for you. So this is good. We've got D&D on Insomnia. I'm looking forward to that. We get to play some games. We get to talk about some stuff. We've already mentioned the Magic the Gathering NFTs, which have messed up, the good old games. I'm just going through the list of stuff here.
Yeah.
We've looked about TitanReach. We've looked up the second channel is nearly at 100k. The Josh Strife Plays nearly at 100k subscribers.
That's crazy.
The Tomb Raider video got 500,000 views.
Really?
It did really. It's on like 500,000 views already.
That's insane. Wasn't that out like 4 days ago?
I mean, the Tomb Raider came out like 2 weeks ago, and the Rayman one is doing really well. So it's just we're doing really good. We're doing really, really good. Insomnia, Iron Mike, D&D. Has anyone in the chat seen the Uncharted film? Have you seen it yet, Cal?
I haven't. I've just heard it was really bad.
I've seen bits. I haven't seen the whole thing. People have sent me clips.
Oh, I've seen clips. Yeah,
I think I've probably seen enough clips to have seen the film now. I just haven't seen them all in the right order. It's like The Mummy if there was no passion, no spark, no magic.
Yeah,
you know, because
it's just a representation of it, but as loosely as possible.
Yeah, Tom Holland is not a bad actor, but he's not Nathan Drake, and Mark Wahlberg is not Sully. And the clips they've used in the film was the bit where he's falling out of the plane and he's climbing up the rigging of the boxes. That's from Uncharted 3. Finding his brother, Sam, that's from Uncharted 4. Going to some temple in the middle of Arabia, that's from Uncharted 2. The problem is that they've taken the idea of Uncharted being globe-trotting adventure and just completely messed up the plot for the sake of making a cheap cash-in film. It's not even cheap, it's a very expensive cash-in film. But what irritates me is Uncharted was written by the same lady who wrote Soul Reaver. Now, mate, Soul Reaver was a PlayStation 1 game.
Oh.
Incredibly good. Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver was written...
Oh, yes.
Yep, that lady went on to write Amy Hennig, that's the one. She went on to write the Uncharted games. She was not particularly happy with the ending of Uncharted 4. They had to bring a change around for that. But Amy Hennig is amazing. She's so good at writing games. Why would you look at what she's written and gone, no, we can do better? You clearly can't.
Yeah.
Okay? She was like Shakespearean levels of writing these things. She's amazing. Leave what she's done and make a film of that.
That reminds me of something I've been watching recently that I didn't think I'd enjoy. But I've been thoroughly enjoying it. Have you been watching Reacher?
No, not yet. Is it any good?
So good.
Okay.
I thought they were going to kill it in terms of like it was going to be crap.
Yeah.
It's the best series I've watched in the last couple of years, and I'm hooked.
That good.
I really am. And I actually watched that Archive 81 or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. I think Archive 81 was really good up until the ending.
I haven't got that far yet.
Oh, okay, cool.
The ending... got the part where they go into the 6th floor room that they were told to not go into.
Oh,
and I was so terrified because it was like 3 a.m. and I was like, you know what, we'll come back to this later.
We'll
and I haven't come back to it yet.
Yeah, Archive 81...
I am a wuss.
Archive 81 was really interesting. I think they dropped the ball a bit when it finished, but it's still strong. It's just not as strong as the middle couple of episodes were. Because they were really good. But in general, I did enjoy Archive 81.
I like the concept of it. I like the mind games that are being played from the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is psychological terror as opposed to like body horror or shock gore or just kind of blood and guts.
Yeah, there's so many like loop backs to things that have happened or been said that some of them you knew it was going to loop back to. You thought, okay, that's an odd thing to say. When's it going to loop back? But then there's other things that were in plain sight that are big, just dropped on the floor clues that you didn't even think about. And it's like a mind-blown moment when it loops back around to that. It's very good.
Psychological terror, man, is personally for me one of the best film genres. It's hard to make. It's hard to enjoy. Because you are scared. You are naturally scared. You want to move away.
You're on the edge of your seat constantly.
Yeah.
Even when you don't need to be.
Yeah. For anyone who's unsure, Archive 81 is a Netflix series about... It was originally a creepypasta on like No Sleep subreddit, which was then turned into a podcast, which was like a horror-style podcast, and the podcast got picked up and turned into a short Netflix show. And it's actually... They've done it very well. The lead actor is fantastic. The lead female actor I have some issues with from like a purely acting standpoint, but I don't think the material she was given was the best. I think she makes a lot of dumb decisions.
Yeah, she was made to act out as this generic female from film, but doing really dumb stuff that contradicts her kind of character. So I get what you mean with that, and I feel that where I've paused at now is about to get more stupid.
Yeah, you know when you watch people who do anything in a film and you're like, why are you doing that? That's dumb. Why are you going into the dangerous place? Please, if you're in a horror film, turn the lights on and pick up a weapon. They're the two things I would like you to do. If I'm watching a horror film and I see the main character try all the lights and pick up something to hit something with, I'll be happy. That's what I would do straight away. As soon as something happens, turn a light on, pick up a weapon. I'd grab my dog. You know, he's an attack dog. I'm just going to throw him through the air like an angry cloud that would attack people. That's how I
need to get myself one of them.
You do, an angry cloud. It would work.
Yeah.
People are really sad in the chat. I guarantee all Apollo would do if he was thrown at people is lick them. That's it.
Yeah.
He would just lick them. Irregular Joe, I know that you're trying to get my attention by saying Terra is the best game, but the Terra incident has already happened. If you need a second Terra incident, pop back when I'm streaming Skyrim, because I don't want to take away Callum's time just talking about Terra. It's okay.
That's a waste of time.
But yeah, I mean, his time is valuable. He's an educated, intelligent person. I need to know Callum's...
I wouldn't go that far.
Couldn't go that far. Cal, how's Nightmare World going
on? Incredibly well.
Tell us some about Nightmare World.
Okay, so since the last devlog came out, people were impressed by how much was in there because, you know, we took on twice the amount of artists and programmers over Christmas. And I can tell you what we've done in the 2 weeks since that devlog has already blown that entire devlog out of the water because we've now got everybody on the same wavelength, all, you know, working on different things. It's coming along so quickly that it's actually kind of terrifying. Back-end web team have created some tools to help us out, such as obviously when you're designing something in Unreal Engine, you have to build the game as a client and build it as a server, deploy it to your actual server, link them all up and redirect IP addresses and ports and whatever. Canon, who works on that team, automated the entire thing start to finish.
Wow. Okay.
And it's literally now for us, run a Discord command and our Discord bot, Bob, the builder, will go off and build the game for you and deploy it. And when the game is actually live for the Patreons to test, it will boot them offline, update the client, and then allow them to rejoin without any like human intervention.
This all sounds fantastic. This all sounds like you're going to have a playable demo for multiple people relatively soon.
Yeah, exactly. So we're finishing up the cosmetic rewards for the Patreon, because we don't want any power creep rewards. They're all going to be cosmetic, just to say like, hey, I backed at this tier, or I helped fund this game that's now live. So we've almost finished with all of those rewards to show off for the Patreon, and I'm impressed with how many we have. So
that sounds good, man.
When the Patreon goes live, backing above a certain tier, and it won't be like a crazy tier, will gain you access to weekly or monthly, depending on how often the updates are actually pushed out. You'll be able to test those on the live servers for Patreon, which basically means you can see the updates as they happen, test them as they happen, and give us actual meaningful feedback as we're making it.
This seems like some positive stuff. I mean, no one is under any illusions that this is going to be a quick thing. It's not going to be a quick thing.
No,
this is a multi-year-long project that we do slowly, in steps and in stages. And this is one of the big things. You're not promising anyone the Earth. You're not promising the greatest thing in the entire world. You're promising a stable, playable game in a realistic but still somewhat long time frame, which I think is an honest, genuine thing to promise someone. You've not set expectations too far away.
No, exactly.
You set people's expectations realistically.
And this is going to be just stage one of us moving forward. So, as everybody knows, we've been doing it completely off our own backs. Until this point, there's been, I think, maybe 200 to 300 pounds pumped into the project, and that's come directly from me. And some of the other developers that actually wanted to contribute. But a game can't be fully made at this scale without money, and I don't think anyone's under the illusion that it can. It can't. Our time is, like, time is money. So if we can get the developers paid even just a contribution payment every month, not a full wage, but we can get them a contribution payment, get them new graphics tablets for those who don't have ones with screens, and just upgrade everybody's equipment. The speed that we're moving at now will be much, much faster when money comes into it.
Yeah.
And that's when you catch the interest of investors, which, again, we're looking at investors in the long run, but we're looking for the right investors that aren't going to ask for the Earth.
Well, I've heard there's a guy that just gives away $250,000 a month to projects he likes the look of.
I was actually thinking of reaching out to him, no joke.
Do it. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Exactly.
People are asking if I've seen Kira's video. Not yet. I'm planning on watching it soon. Kira TV puts out a massive amount of high-quality content, and I do try and find time to keep up with the stuff he's doing. Cal, are you keeping up with Earth 2 at the minute?
Yeah, I put out a video Friday on that.
What's going on with that? Because I'm not actively keeping up with the Earth 2. I don't want to say scam at the minute. I'm just feeling sad with it. Have you ever... Cal, you ever been to the seaside?
Yeah.
You ever walked into like an amusement arcade?
Yeah.
You know when you're a kid and it's amazing and there's bright shiny lights and it's all fun and fantastic? Yeah. And then you grow up a little bit and you go back and you realise that the carpets are actually horrible and sticky and the games are a bit broken and everything. All the lights have kind of gone out and the shine has gone.
Yeah.
I feel that's what the Earth 2 situation is like. At the start it was brilliant and beautiful and shiny, and it was attracting everyone in with its, lights and sounds and all its promises. And now you're standing... It's like walking through a British town where all of the shops are shuttered and there's only like a Primark and a Greggs still open, but they're still promising you the Earth.
Yeah.
Western Superman. There's a chair.
Yeah.
What's happening with Earth 2?
They hosted an Easter egg hunt where on media images that they're posting out for social media, they'll hide an image of an egg, and there was like 20 different eggs to find. They posted and announced the hunt. Well, they didn't announce it yet. They'd started putting the eggs out there, but this happened last year, so people were ready for it. They knew that this was going to happen again. Somebody tweeted at Shane saying, I found the egg, and there was prize money attached to it, like a couple of $1,000s.
Yeah.
Then Shane announced 2 hours later this competition, and somebody then says, hey, I found this egg, which was the same one that was already found before the announcement. And they gave the prize money to the second person and then acknowledged that the first person had found it and said, yeah, you're not getting that money. So they got conned out of prize money because the rules for it hadn't been posted yet, even though they did abide by the rules accidentally before they were published. So the rules are very obvious. You need to be the first.
I wonder what the chance is that the person who won the prize was set up, was in on it, was already there.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to run a competition where you manually have to review everything and you've got thousands of people involved with this kind of stuff, it's a lot of man hours to do, a lot of staffing hours to run this kind of competition. It's very silly. Shane does love his Easter eggs, doesn't he? He really does. I mean, right now, Earth 2 has got so complicated, I can't even keep up with it anymore. You've got tiles, but then you've got gems, but then you've got ether, but then you've got Gem 1 and Gem 2.
You know, you've got Tier 3 now as well for gems.
Tier 3 is for gems, and you've
which is
also
exactly
got
the
hollow
same
building.
as 2.
There's so much that's going on. It's almost mobile game levels of confusing at the minute.
Yeah, it really is. And it's funny because I'm watching Metaverse projects disappear like smoke on the water.
Yeah.
Have you heard of... you've probably had contact, like, sponsorship requests from these. After Earth.
Oh, I delete them straight away. I've got Metaverse email, Metaverse after Metaverse after NFT after NFT. Oh, have they? Have they taken people's money and ran away?
They rug pulled, they've disappeared, they've gone ghost on every social media platform, but they're still sending me emails for sponsorships. And this is how these platforms win.
Yeah.
My email said, we will pay you £5,000 for a 60-second integration.
Yep.
And I looked at the date of that and when they were asking for it to be done. And if you Google sponsored videos with After Earth in the description, because it was the same thing they were asking to put in the description.
Yep.
There are numerous content creators that have got nothing to do with the metaverse that have all jumped on this. And it's one of them things where if you've not got any integrity, I can't blame you.
No, I mean,
if someone said to me that, yeah, just 5,000, and then they say, because if people use your code, the average that you'll make off one video is between 9 and 40,000, depending on your channel size. Because you get 40% of any link used.
It's money, man. So much money.
It's mad. They have so much money to just pour into advertising something that doesn't exist. Yeah. And what makes it weirder is they weren't just selling you a grid. By the way, it's basically a clone of Earth 2 in every sense. It's using Mapbox, the lot. But they say that when it's finalized, you will own the land that you've bought digitally. And you can literally go and buy your own house on this thing. I don't know who's believing this or who's thinking this is going to come to fruition, but it's the wildest thing I've seen in Metaverse. Claiming that you physically own the land that you own a picture of that isn't yours.
Yeah. It's silly.
It's wild.
It's grifting. People are selling everything. It's a sell economy, and everyone's getting into it. It's absolutely... I also think it's a lot of data gathering, because let's imagine that you maybe aren't the most tech-savvy person, and you sign up to one of these buy virtual land things. What's the first place you're going to go and look at or consider buying? Probably your own house. And now you've probably given the person that runs this whole thing not only your email address, but you've likely given them your general area postcode as well. Possibly a picture of your actual
And you've paid them to do
house.
that.
Yeah. It's very silly that you're giving people this very, very sensitive data. It's scary. But the idea of the metaverse, I've got so many emails from it. And these emails clearly don't watch any of my videos because they're like, hey, we love your work in the metaverse. I'm like, I put one video out saying that it's a crock of shit. You clearly haven't watched any of the videos I put out. That video's doing
check out my
well.
inbox, actually.
Oh, yeah, do it. It's crazy the amount of stuff that we get.
Metaverse.
The amount of stuff that we get sent through every day, emails. It's just
18 sponsorship emails in the last month.
Oh, I discovered...
sorry, it's not After Earth. It's called Next Earth.
I discovered a problem as well. Go with your NFT thing first. Tell us about the metaverse emails you're getting.
This is it. It's all just absolute nonsense saying, hey, we love your work on the metaverse. We love your positivity around it. And when I look at the last video I put out before they emailed, It's because it's got Metaverse in the title or description. They don't check any of the video.
Yeah.
Because I've never been positive about it.
I responded
if people
to
were watching that and seeing me be somewhat positive about, like, Sandbox, for example, where I said this is the most likely to become any sort of metaverse based off what they're providing, and they emailed me, I'd probably believe that they saw that.
Yeah.
But it's not.
I got an email that I can really respect. I got an email from Gameforge.
Oh?
It was like, "Hi Josh, my name is," I think his name was David. "I'm the director of Nostale. One of the latest worst MMO ever episodes was on Nostale." He put out, "Thank you for making the video on Nostale. I'm sorry that you didn't have a smooth early game experience. We can look into fixing the blank white window bug that you experienced. We will take on board your feedback. Just want to sound a personal note. I do enjoy your series. I know that you're harsh but fair. And thank you for not speaking badly of any individual within the company, but for critiquing the game." And I thought, you know what?
Fair.
That's fair. Fair play on that. I'm not sure if it's Gameforge as a company or if it's David doing it off his own back, but I can respect that. That's a good developer. That's a dev looking at a project and going, you know what? It can be better. So let's work out with it. I respect that. Well done, Dave. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I actually talk about this in tomorrow's video. So tomorrow we are diving back into Dreamworld just to check up on what they've been doing.
See how they're doing.
Oh, do you know what? The timing for this is the worst as well. So I found out after I'd rendered this whole video out, because it's got a sponsor in it tomorrow, so I had to render it out and send it off to be checked. And I've had 3 people message me on Discord saying, "Hey, I just got reached out to by Dreamworld to do a sponsored video.
Yep.
And I came across your channel." They were like, "Is it as bad as you said?" And it didn't click with me until like earlier today, and I was just like, "Oh, for God's sake, of course this will happen as I'm putting out this video tomorrow." Which has got a different sponsor, by the way, not Dreamworld.
Yep.
But they're now reaching out to massive content creators, like some of them 500k to 1 million subs, to get them to do videos on Dreamworld. But it's bizarre because one of the people that messaged me doesn't talk in their videos at all, ever. They have never spoke a word in them, and they never show their face. They just do things like building, like Minecraft building techniques or techniques for building in other building games.
I think maybe they need to start curating who they have advertising their products. A YouTube 500k to 1 million subs as a YouTuber is massive.
Yeah.
Once you're over 100k subs, you're in the top 1% of YouTube. You know, over 500k, you're like the top 1% of the top 1%. It's insane.
What? Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
The amount of money they're going to have to pay those big YouTubers to do an advert on them is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's not going to fix any issues. This is the main topic that I cover in the video for tomorrow, which, by the way, was recorded about like seven days ago, I think.
Yeah.
Ready for this. So before I even knew that they were sponsoring this, so it doesn't get mentioned in the video.
Yeah.
So in the video, I'm discussing why Dreamworld will fail, because from not from a what they did dodgy as people standpoint, but from a game development standpoint.
It's a boring game.
Yeah, and there's bigger problems than that. For example, building is the end game. You are getting your tools and resources so you can build. Now, there is no incentive to build anything other than you want to. Minecraft has incentive in the sense that it's protection from the world, and it's kind of like your base of operations to do the other things. In Dreamworld, that is the end game. And the end game is only applicable if you want to do that thing.
Yeah.
And if you do want to do that thing, you have to go through the most grueling experience to get to that. Such as, I got the first tier pickaxe in Dreamworld a few videos back. It took me 3.5 hours to get it. And if I go back to get it again, it's still going to take me 3.5 hours every time I want a pickaxe.
Yeah.
The gameplay is not fun. And when I finally got the pickaxe, I wasn't relieved or happy or excited or felt accomplished. I just thought, dear God, do not lose this pickaxe ever, because I'm not doing it again. I'm straight up not doing it again. And your reward for doing that is you can now mine the next tier of ore and build with it, and then do the same again for the next tier pickaxe.
You're not gaining anything. You're not building toward anything. People in the chat are asking if these streams get uploaded to YouTube. They do. The YouTube channel, the Tangent Tavern, has all of the old streams on you can watch.
And we've even got up now.
We've even got Visa, the guy that was editing some of my videos, doing the thumbnails for it. So the thumbnails look nicer.
And they represent the video that you know, the podcast that it is. So at a glance you can see, okay, I've not watched this one, but I want to.
Someone in the chat has said, great example. Callum, you ever played Factorio?
No, I haven't, but I've watched a lot of it.
Okay, so if you want to lose like a week of your life, get Factorio. It's worth it.
That's why I haven't.
You know what's great about Factorio? Dreamworld says people can do whatever they want. Okay, what's the point in doing it? Oh, because you want to do it. Not enough. You cannot just say that the player should do something because they want to do it. You need to give them a goal, no matter how simple it is. Factorio does it really well. You start playing Factorio, the game says, build a rocket, escape the planet. Okay, that's it. That's the one goal. That is the only goal you need to do. Build a rocket, escape the planet. Every single thing you do in that game is about that goal.
Towards it. Yeah.
If you were to say, hey, the purpose of Dreamworld is to get to the centre of the Earth. The purpose of Dreamworld is to build a rocket and get off the planet. Okay, cool. Everything you then do is about that. You cannot just say to a player, you can do whatever you want. We have to add your own fun. If people had the mental discipline to add their own fun, they likely wouldn't be playing a video game. They would likely be going to the gym. They would likely be designing a diet plan. They would likely be going to the Open University. They'd be going to a college course. They'd be doing some kind of hobby outside. People play video games because they give them a set challenge that they want to then go and do.
Yeah. And that's the real issue with Dreamworld, aside from, you know, the people involved and their pasts. The actual game's issue is it doesn't respect your time. It expects you to put a lot of time in off your own back for a goal that you want to achieve that has no subsequent goals. So you have to go in and be like, right, what do I want to do? Let's say you want to build a castle for no other reason than you want to build a castle. You've now got to make yourself a checklist of about 100 things that you need to do as prerequisites. And each of them, you need to make prerequisites for those.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says, hey, you should probably do this. This will help you out with this. And then you go, okay, that makes sense. I'll go do that. It's just do whatever you want if you want to do it.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads back to the play the game if you want to play it.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Boring.
Because
what's the point? How do you advertise Dreamworld? As silly as this sounds, many games can survive off just being online fun sandboxes.
Yeah.
People can just have fun making stuff. That's fine. But once you've got one game that allows people to make stuff really well, you don't necessarily need a lot of other games that allow people to make stuff really well. Because that once you've kind of mastered that genre, Minecraft has done building in cubes so well. Almost every other game that tried to copy Minecraft, everyone just said, just play Minecraft.
Yeah.
You need a story. I'm sorry, but if you're going to be an MMO, you need a story.
Yeah.
Because that's what people emotionally anchor themselves to.
That is another really big issue with it. Everything is so like compartmentalized in Dreamworld because at the end of the day, they are all assets. So what you're essentially playing is Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
You're putting the build pieces where you want. You are placing like ore where you want. You are walking around a completely randomly generated asset world.
Yeah.
That if you wanted to do that, you could do it in Unreal Engine,
Yeah,
and it would actually be easier.
You're building a game. They've made a meta game where you build a game. And I think my main problem with Dreamworld is it just looks shit. They're using a lot of Unreal assets. There's no single guiding aesthetic principle. There's no through line of graphics. There is absolutely no scale to anything.
Oh, God, no.
You get a massive apple, a tiny table, a huge big candy tree, a car. It's a child's imagination of a game. It's the kind of game that's really fun to visit for a laugh, but no one's going to make it their main game.
God, no. It's kind of like I say, you're playing Unreal Engine, and what they add to the game is entirely limited by what is on the asset store and how affordable it is. if they look at it like this, when we decided on our smithing system for Nightmare World, our first thing was, these are the bullet points we want to hit. These are what we want this to be. Okay, let's go make it. Dream World, let's say they're doing the same thing. They want a procedural smithing system. Is it on the asset store? No. Okay, we're not having that. But there is a regular crafting system on the asset store that we can rename to smithing. And that is genuinely what happens. And that's the issue, because then when they get a crafting system for cooking that doesn't even look or feel like the other crafting system, which they're both generic, by the way. And that's the issue. They don't have to be the same, but they are so similar yet different in visuals and execution that you're constantly thinking about, like, let's say we go to the Dream World smithing table. Okay, I drag the bars into the crafting menu, and I press make. Now I go to the cooking menu and I pick from a drop down, and it auto fills the same crafting menu. So the player is being tasked with constantly rethinking how they interact with everything in the game.
Yeah.
Summoning mounts that are based off a spell are not done by casting a spell. Casting a spell is done by casting a spell, but you need to go to the stable to put a spell in your hotbar that is specifically for a mount.
So clunky.
But then you don't cast that spell. You press R, and it will look at whatever spell you put there and summon a mount out of thin air. So your brain is working overtime as a player to just figure out what the hell is going on. And by the time you do that, you don't want to do the thing. Like, you've been so mentally drained by thinking about doing the thing that you then don't want to do the thing.
This to me isn't game development. This is asset purchasing and slapping together.
It is stitching together.
Yeah, some of the most amazing games have been developed from a really simple concept. Like a really simple concept.
Yeah.
My favourite game story was, there was 3 kids in, I think it was like a tech college somewhere in America, and they created a game called Narbacular Drop. Now, you probably haven't heard of Narbacular Drop, but I guarantee you've played Narbacular Drop, because they changed the name.
Sounds familiar.
So what happened with Narbacular Drop was these kids said, hey, we've got an idea for like a big 3D puzzle game, but the way that you're going to get out of the rooms is you can actually place a door on one wall and then a door on another, and when you go through one door, you'll actually come out the other. Okay. And they took these kids in and they sat them down in Valve's office, and they had Gabe and all of the executives walk in and say, right, show us Narbacular Drop. And the kids went, yeah, we've basically got this idea where if you're in a room, there exists like 5 versions of this room that the player can't see, and if you put a door there and a door there, you can go to the other version, but it's the same version. And Gabe went, so you're basically using portals to get around. And the kids went, yeah, pretty much. And he went, cool, call it that, make the whole game that.
Yeah.
And they went, sweet. Narbacular Drop became Portal.
Yeah.
One idea. One simple idea. Unique at the time. They made it into a whole game. It wasn't just a case of buying what existed and slamming it together.
Yeah. That is a perfect tangent to what I was describing in the video that's coming out tomorrow. You need to, when you're making your game, you need to say, right, what's my core mechanic going to be, and do it really well. Like, try and blow every other game out of the water when it comes to that mechanic.
Yep.
And then do every other mechanic reasonably well to the extent of what that first mechanic supports.
Yeah.
This is another thing with Dreamworld. There is no core mechanic. And if they could argue that their core mechanic is building, they've not done a good job on that, because it is like searingly painful to try and navigate the building menu, the placement, the deletion, just everything is a chore. It's 10 times harder than it needs to be, and they have failed astronomically at making building any good. And then the systems that they've stitched into it are abysmal.
Yeah.
They do not fit the system that it's based around. That's why they're also separate. Their crafting menu is 6 different crafting menus that could have all been the same one renamed. But just to give it a different flavor, they've used 6 different assets that they've reskinned. And 6 different UIs, and it just feels wrong. It's like, imagine I'd started a game project and I blindly passed it on to you after 24 hours and I said, don't look at what I've done, but I want you to add crafting next. And you do that. Then you pass that on to Kira and you say, right, Kira, don't look at what we've done, but you're adding smithing next. And then we look at it at the end and we go, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, it's that game you play in school where everyone draws like a little bit of a character and then folds it over, and then another little bit and fold it over, then you unfold it and see what you've got. I'll tell you a great example of good game design. When you sit down to design a game, say to yourself, what do we want the player to feel? What is the feeling we want? Is it exploration? Is it action? Is it empathy? Is it fear? What is the feeling we want the player to have? And then you make every single part of your game enhance that feeling. Have you played the remake of Doom that came out in 2016?
Yes.
Brilliant bit of game design. Every first-person shooter since, around 2004-ish, you haven't had a health bar. You've just had a state of health, and you're either alive or dead, and if you get shot, you just hide for a little bit, and then your health kind of comes back, or a recharging shield, if you will. The games used to be, in order to get your health back, hide. Doom wanted the player to feel angry, energetic, violent all the time. So the only change they made was to get your health back, you need to kill an enemy in melee.
That is not the only change they made. There was one that people didn't know about for years.
Oh, do tell.
And this is an interesting bit of game design that a lot of people were like, oh, that's a cop-out. It's crap. But it's actually genius. When your health is below 25%, you take 25% less damage. And it's not indicated to you. So you feel like you're always on the edge of death when you're not really. These things that can do 25% of your health and finish you off won't.
Believe it or not, that actually connects to what I was going to go to next, which is fighting games. You ever played like Tekken and Street Fighter? You have the health bar at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. The first 50% of the health bar is only about 30% of your health. So you lose 30% of your health, suddenly you're thinking, shit, I'm on half health. But you're not. You've actually got quite a lot left.
Yeah, it's not a linear bar.
Yeah, you lose more. And the bar goes down to a tiny bit left, but you've actually got about, 30 or 40% health left.
Yeah.
It's done to be a visual indicator that you as a player should get the adrenaline pumping. You're about to lose. Quick, make a comeback. And then as you make a comeback, you feel good because you kind of clutched that fight.
Yeah.
Doom did exactly the same thing. The idea, you decide what emotion you want the player to be in, and you design everything around that. Have you played Dead Space?
Are you going to say about the health bar on the spine? Because I was going to bring that up.
I mean, that's just... Dead Space is probably the best designed UI of any game ever.
Because there is no UI.
There is no UI. If you've played Dead Space in the chat right now, where's your health in Dead Space? Where's the health bar? You've played Dead Space, haven't you, Kel?
Yeah.
Health bar's on the spine down the back. You've got little
it's like a tank bar that fills up like blue up and down,
How do you know how much ammunition the gun's got?
Because it's on your gun.
It's on the gun. When you hold the gun, it actually pops up on the gun.
Yeah.
Where's your map? Did you use the map
often? Actually, I don't think I ever did.
When you use the map, you hold your hand out in front of you, and a little laser drops down and shows you where you need to go. Yeah. There is nothing in Dead Space that is not completely diegetic to being in the game. There is no UI at all.
I'm really glad you brought up the word diegetic, because this is a discussion that we've been having over the last 2 weeks on Nightmare World. As many of our crafting systems as possible are going to be diegetic, and we've been testing them, and honestly, we absolutely love them, because there's the immersion. I'll throw an example. Dual crafting. There's a blueprint lying on the table, and the part where you cut, make the cut. Drag it from your inventory onto the model of the cutting station. It's there physically. There's no UI pop-up. You click on the arrows that are kind of like holograms on the table. You cycle through whatever gem you want to cut, and then you press the button to start the machine that is physically on the machine.
That's great.
And it's such a joy to use for all the systems and all the workbenches that we're doing. It just feels good. Like, really good.
And that's what more games need to get to. It feels good. I watched the documentary, The Making of Dead Space, and the guy that made it... First of all, the guy that made it looks like a Gears of War character.
I've seen.
Have you seen the dude? He's like
stacked.
Properly hench. Like, this guy...
He's like a Hell's Angel, isn't he?
He literally looks like Marcus Fenix just walked out of Gears of War and started making games. He is absolutely massive. He is properly jacked up. Lovely guy, though, from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically sat down and he said, right, we are going to make the scariest game ever made. And there is going to be absolutely no UI at all. All the information the player needs, they're going to get in the game.
In the world.
Because Isaac needs to get the information from the game as well. They are only going to get the information that Isaac has. And I thought that's great. That's really good. Every single thing in Dead Space is about making you as a player feel scared. Everything.
Yeah. And it does it well.
Yeah. So this is my issue with
really well.
My issue with Dreamworld is when you're playing Dreamworld, what are you meant to feel? I don't know. I don't think Zach and
I don't
Garrison,
think they've thought of that.
No, I don't think they know. What are you meant to feel? Like, your favourite games, guys, think of your favourite games. What are you meant to feel? With RuneScape, what are you meant to feel? I think the feeling of RuneScape is slow but trackable, meaningful progress.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They want you to feel that when you leave RuneScape, you are slightly further along than you were before. That's it. And it's permanent. It's a permanent change. That's what you're meant to feel.
Yeah, everything you do puts you closer to something you want.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's done it so well that I don't think other games can compete.
No. That's why all these new MMOs say they want to be like RuneScape. And what they mean is we want players to feel that every single session on our game is progress.
Yep, exactly. That's one of our main philosophies with Nightmare World. We're all huge RuneScape fans.
Yeah.
We want you to feel that no matter how long you come into the game for that day and how much time you spend, you're always progressing towards something. Even if it's not the thing that you're actively trying to progress towards. Everything will reward you, either in a large amount or small amount, depending what it is, but you will be rewarded for everything you do.
2 games in the chat that are coming up often. Uncharted, I think you're meant to feel wonder, adventure. You're meant to feel epic adventure. In every single level of Uncharted is about epic adventure, wonder. They forget physics, forget reality. It's just adventure. If this level isn't the most incredible adventure, make a better level.
Yes.
And someone in said, what's Dark Souls about? Honestly, Dark Souls, vengeance.
Yeah.
Silly as it is, you die. You die again, you die again, you die again, you die again. You win vengeance.
Same with Shadow of the Colossus.
It pops up on the screen. That's why it said, defeat it, won.
The way I like to look at game development, where it comes to like strong points, think of it like a in-game stat selection, right? You've got 50 points to put into 10 stats. I'm not going to go and name all stats, but you've got gameplay, storytelling, crafting, scale of multiplayer. You can't max all of those out, but you also shouldn't spread the points equally amongst all of them, because you get a mediocre game that just about qualifies as a game.
Yeah.
What you want to do is stack your points into one thing and do it really, really well.
Yeah.
And then balance the others out based off what your strong suit is.
This is an excellent bit of game design coming from, I think it's Mark Rosewater, the guy that designs Magic the Gathering. If he designs 2 Magic the Gathering cards and he puts them out to a test audience and says, please rate your opinion of this card from 1 to 10, with 1, you hate it, 10, you love it, it's the best thing ever. If he gets these numbers back in and one of the cards has multiple 1 ratings and multiple 10 ratings but nothing in the middle, and the other card is just like solid 5s across the board, he won't release the 5s across the board card, because that card is average, and average is forgettable.
Average in pretty much every scenario.
Yeah, totally forgettable.
Whereas the one that's got 1s and 5s, or 1s and 10s, you know that people see this as useless in certain cases, or really good in other cases, meaning it will make for a good dynamic with other cards. You don't mind if people love it. You don't mind if people hate it. What you don't want is people to not care. Yes. That's the worst one. I mean, what was the last... This is what I think Battle for Azeroth did really badly. People just didn't care. It's not that Battle for Azeroth was a terrible expansion. It's not that it was a great expansion. It's that no one cared. It was just an expansion.
Yeah, that's all it was. It's the next WoW expansion. What are we going to do? Some raids. The old gods are back. Some more stuff. Oh, how does this change the world? Not too much.
Yeah. It was a real shame as well, because WoW's expansions used to be so good that they were all memorable. Everybody remembers the Cataclysm, despite the world changing, which a lot of people hated. I understand that, but it was a memorable thing. Wrath of the Lich King, memorable. You had a clear goal, which was defeat the Lich King. Everything you're doing up until the Lich King releases, you are working towards that goal, and it really felt like it.
Yeah.
Same with the Burning Crusade. Illidan's gone rogue. Your job is to bring him back down.
Yeah.
And everything you did felt like you were working towards that. Same with Classic. But then you've got the recent ones where it's kind of just like, we'll introduce a new big bad at some point, but until then, here's a new world.
You don't care. Someone in the chat just said the worst thing you can say is, I don't care about this. Have you ever logged out of a game and had absolutely no desire to ever log back in? Not that you hate it, you just don't care. You don't.
There's nothing pulling you back. Yeah. Many games.
There's nothing there.
Yeah. Arcade.
Yeah.
That was my opinion with Arcade after a while. Once I got to max level, and that's where things are supposed to begin. That's where the fun opens up. And I was just like, what was I doing all this for?
This is probably why RuneScape pulls people back in, because its focus is on progress. That's it. The focus of RuneScape is progress. That's all it is. So when you haven't been subscribed to RuneScape for a couple of months or a couple of years, and you think, I'm going to sub for a month. Why? Because it's very clearly about progress, and you haven't lost the progress you've made.
No. And there's a very good psychological effect here. RuneScape's progress is small but often. Everything you do makes small progress. Your goal isn't, I'm going to complete the game. That literally takes 8,000 to 10,000 hours to efficiently complete everything. I'm talking all mini games, all skills, get all armor, do all bosses. The lot, complete the collection.
It's not like you get one reward after 8,000 hours.
Exactly. It's not, now the game begins. It's, what progress do I want to make in today's session? It's not like WoW. A new expansion comes out, right, here we go, let's get to max level. And then players are constantly doing that in one session, then getting to the end and feeling like they've just been served, as Kira says, a 0-calorie nothing burger as your reward.
It is.
The progress through the game should be the game. It shouldn't be the gate to the game. You should never feel the need to complete the game, just to progress through it.
Whenever we look at all these classic games of the greatest games of all time, the one constant you see across all of them is you as a player have a goal. And everything you're doing is toward that goal. So, have you ever played The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on the N64?
I have, yes.
Okay. That game starts. First thing you've got to do, find a sword. Okay, cool, find a sword. Then, go and collect the 3 gem bits. Cool, go and get the 3 gem bits. Oh, Ganon's kidnapped Zelda. Go and get the Master Sword. Okay, now go and get all 8 or 6 or however many it was, things from around the world. That's your goal. Your goal is to defeat Ganon. Everything else is about getting to that goal, and you've got small steps along getting there. Baldur's Gate. Your goal is find out what happened to Gorion. Go and do this. There's small steps. Every single big successful game has one overarching goal broken down into many small individual goals. I was replaying today the game Tenchu for PlayStation 1. Has anyone in the chat played Tenchu? Tenchu's plot sucks. However, the individual levels are frickin' amazing. Like, one of the levels is like, the princess has been kidnapped. I'm like, I don't care. They're like, there are pirates at the dock. Go and kill them all. And I thought, now I care. My mission, infiltrate a town under cover of darkness, kill all the barbarians, board the pirate ship, kill the pirate captain. I'm like, I am so on board with this plan. You have no idea. It's an amazing level. Like, it's not... I know that the entire plot obviously is save the princess, but for this moment, all I need to do is be fantasy ninja Batman and go and kill pirates. And I was so on board with that.
This is a big design flaw in so many games. You have to have a carrot on a stick that is not far away, but not too close.
Yeah.
WoW's carrot on the stick is, I have logged into the game with this new expansion. You need to reach level 80. And that carrot is miles away down on a stick. But once you get it, there's not really anything in between or anything after.
No, and you also don't feel that it's that good because carrots are bad. Carrots suck. So if you're going to give someone a carrot on a stick, you have to have another carrot very close after.
Yeah.
Very close after. And the process of getting it has to be fun as well. If the process isn't fun, the process of me playing Tenchu was amazing. And this is what irritated me about MMORPGs. You can play Tenchu, you can finish the entire game in 5 hours. In 5 hours, you can go through 10 amazing ninja missions.
Yeah.
That's it. 5 hours, 10 amazing ninja missions. You play an MMORPG for 5 hours, you're still grinding through the shit bit.
Yeah.
For 5 hours.
And that's something that we want, that from day one we were trying to address. We don't want Nightmare World to be like that. So, as a random example, you've got a quest at the start that is, this village is under attack by another local village. Go and help them, offer refugee support and whatnot. Once you save that village, there's now 5 NPCs that you'd previously saved, and they each have a quest to take you off completely spiderweb in different directions, and you can do them in any order. You can go where you find fun. So let's say your example, you can. I've lost my friend down at the docks. You go down there and you find out this turns into like a battle on a ship or something. Once you've helped him and saved the crew of that ship, they've all got different quests. They all want you to get different things for the next voyage and whatnot. And you can choose the order to do them, if you even want to do them. Some other quests are locked behind those, but you can just spread out, and you and your friend who have started at the same time and gone off on your different ways can spread out across the world differently and have totally different experiences. And then, Josh, me and you can jump in a call and you can be like, oh, I did the pirate quest earlier today. And I'll be like, what pirate quest?
Yeah.
And you can tell me how you got to that, and I can go do that and have my own experience.
What you've effectively got there is a very similar questing system to the Elder Scrolls Online, which I think is one of the best questing systems in any MMO. It's brilliant. To me, the gold standard of how your game, your fantasy game, even if it's an MMO, should start is The Witcher 3. You played The Witcher 3?
I have. I've played a bit of it.
White Orchard. I finished all of White Orchard, and I thought, this is a really good game. And then I realised White Orchard is the frickin' tutorial.
Yeah.
All of it is just the tutorial. And I thought, that is incredible. In 5 hours, you have given me a better game, a better tutorial, than most games can do as an entire game. Horizon Zero Dawn does a very similar thing as well. Uncharted does a thing as well. I mean, Elder Scrolls Online has a really good opening where you get to experience all the missions. Please, if you're going to make an online adventure game, don't forget that you are an adventure game.
Yeah. And
Phantom saying every single map or area in The Witcher 3 looks exactly the same. I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think that Hearts of Stone looks a little bit different to Blood and Wine, which looks a bit different to Novigrad, which looks a bit different to White Orchard, which looks I think Skellige doesn't exactly look like a forest. So Skellige is very, very different. The boats, the Irish-style countryside, I would say that it's a bit different, personally. But if that's what Witcher 3 is not an RPG, fight me about it. And you have stats, and you have weapons, and you have an upgrade system, but I would say it is. But if you don't think it is, that's fine as well. Cal, sorry, you were talking about the opening of your game, of branching off with quest paths. I completely agree with you doing that.
So yeah, it's going to be really cool, and what we want to do is, we're not sure exactly the details on it, but we don't want it to be where, and as someone's actually rightfully pointed out in my chat, we don't want it to be where the side quest's locking you off from a main quest. The main quest is going to be the world. And the main quest will be how you choose to take these, piece by piece. Everything you're going to be doing kind of helps towards the main story. So let's say there's a war brewing or something, and you go off and you find Mernin Turta, the mining tutor.
Yeah.
And he wants help digging into this caved-in cave to free somebody who is helping to rally armies and stuff.
Yeah.
That helps with the main story, but you don't have to do that before going to do another part. They will all be part of the bigger world story.
RuneScape.
And then maybe at the end there will be a requirement where 4 of these 6 must have been done to go on to the next one, because for a law reason, you need to have done that first. You know, it makes sense.
It's the way
but we never just want it to be a linear, here's all the main story, just ignore the side stuff.
No. Go and enjoy the world. RuneScape does it in a way that I personally enjoy.
And that's kind of our basis for it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think we've had a really good chat today. I think we've covered a lot of interesting stuff. If you've just joined us, this will be on YouTube. There are now a couple of YouTube channels. There is the Tangent Tavern. You can jump on and watch all of the old stuff. I'm also uploading my Twitch VODs to Josh Strife replays. Cal, I don't know if you're uploading your Twitch VODs anywhere.
I'm not yet, but I'm actually thinking of doing this because I made a change recently. I've been using Sony Vegas 14 for the last, 7 years.
Okay.
And it served me kind of well. I realized recently that it does support GPU acceleration, but not fully. So I'd been having issues with it, so I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to buy Premiere Pro, which is a bit of a jump when you're editing on a different editor. I used to render out some of these Tangent Tavern episodes, and it would take between 4 to 8 hours.
Wow. Okay.
So this is why there was the backlog.
Yeah.
And the reason you've got just an absolute hurricane of videos coming out now is because it takes me 11 minutes.
Wow.
To now render it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I edit on a free program called Shotcut. It's terrible, but it does the job.
It was so different from Vegas that I was just like, I can't. I can't take the leap to it. Same with DaVinci Resolve. They're both great programs by themselves, but I don't want to have to relearn 7 years of non-linear editing.
Yeah, it's exactly
to go to linear editing. So doing this has been insane. It's taken me longer to edit because I'm having to learn how to do a scrolling text for patrons and stuff.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, once it's rendered out, it's pretty crazy. A 15-minute video took me 1 minute 15 to render.
Crazy. That is
and I
crazy.
thought it was going to be corrupted. I was like, there's no way, no way on earth that has rendered the full video. And I was blown away because the quality of the render is even better. No dropped frames or anything.
People over in my chat are saying, what, do Callum's patrons get scrolling text? Guys, look, if you want your name on scrolling text, yeah, that's fine. Go and support Callum. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep manually... Can I just point out that I actually manually create the patron list every video?
That's on you, because I made you a Python script that would automate the entire thing the same way mine is, and you turned it down.
It doesn't work, unfortunately. What I've got to do is, because every single time I put a video out, here's what I do. I've got a document with every patron's name on it in column orders that show where they are. And I've got a GIMP program, the picture with all the names on it. Every time I have a video, I bring up my Patreon list, I go on to deleted, I remove all the people who deleted using Control F to find their names, then I manually type and add in everyone who's new by going from the Patreon onto the OpenOffice document, onto the GIMP spreadsheet, by every single time, then I export the picture and then I upload it to a new video. And that takes me about 30 minutes every single day.
Josh, that's exactly what the Python script does. Exactly what you've just said. That is exactly what it does.
Okay, don't replace me with a Python script, Cal. I'm going to keep doing this. Why are you doing this, Josh? I'll tell you why I'm doing this. You lot pay me money as patrons. I want you to know that I'm working for you. Me doing that every single day, that's part of my job for you. I mean, you're lucky that I'm not doing it on Windows 95. Oh, you're lucky that I can put down the Space Cadet pinball for long enough to do this. Okay? Boomer alert, old man love it. Like a handwritten letter. Stop paying, Josh. Start to use the script.
Yeah, we need to boycott your Patreon until you start using the script.
Oh.
You can even have it, right? By default, it doesn't scroll. It just fits to page.
Yeah.
So you would literally press the script, done. It goes to Patreon. It downloads the what is it?
Why not write it down on paper and take a photo? I could do that. I will personally write out every single one of your names. But if I get when I have 500,000 YouTube subs, I will write out every patron's name by hand. Please don't clip that, because I know someone's going to make me do it. But I mean, to be fair, for 500,000 YouTube subs, that's probably a fair thing to do. Okay.
It takes me less than a second.
It takes me half an hour, but it's part of my morning routine. I have a cup of tea. I have my list. I feel close to them. I have my cup of tea. I have my list of patrons. I'm sat there in my dressing gown. It's beautiful. It's a bonding moment.
Josh, I've even gone so lazy that when I drag my Patreon intro... Well, I'd set this up with Vegas 14, but I'm going to do it with whatever the hell I said I was using, Premiere Pro. When I render a video, I'll have a checkbox that says generate outro. And what it will do is it will then run that script before the render, place it on the timeline, and scale it to the right length of time, and have it scrolling. And I don't even have to look at it.
When I do an outro, despite the fact my outro has been the same on every video for the last 2 years, I still re-record it every time.
I do, because sometimes you're in a more chirpy, chirpy frame of mind, and then you put the outro there and you're like, what the hell is this switch up?
This is about Josh wanting us to be more inefficient. Yeah, if as soon as I start, it's a slippy slope, as soon as I start to become efficient, then all these videos just become about efficiency. So guys, as soon as I start to become efficient on YouTube, I'm just going to switch to making shorts of... Do you watch those shorts of DIY channels where they've got like wood and
they're just screwing into it,
and they're just screwing various nails or various raw plugs?
I find myself watching that for about 45 minutes. How
fascinating are raw plugs? Just watching and going, I wonder how this plastic will twist. Oh, it twists in the middle and goes out slightly. Oh, I wonder what that plastic will do. Oh, that plastic falls down halfway and then moves up with the screw. That's fascinating. I just love watching just random stuff like that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why I watch it, because I can't stand it. But I've got a recent hatred as well. This will be my last tangent. On Facebook, you know Crafty Panda, the ones that do all the videos where it's like life hacks? I hate them.
Is that the one that's like the 10 minutes of... This is a very specific video. The egg yolk on top of the bundle of matches. If you haven't seen that... Have you seen that one? Has anyone in the chat seen that one? Holy hell. So there's basically a company who are paid by Facebook to make videos that are over 10 minutes long that have really high watch time. And I saw one of them. Huge bundle of matches tied together with like an elastic band. Crack an egg, put the yolk on top of the matches, on the match heads. And then all they do is light the matches on fire. But they don't light the matches for 10 minutes. And what they keep doing is they keep striking a match and being like, okay, guys, what we're going to do now is get this on here, and then we're going to go, and it's going to cook the egg, and then this match they're holding runs out. So they strike another one. Like, you've got to be really careful and you don't burn your hands. 10 minutes of setup. For nothing.
Yeah. And the one that annoyed me the other day, because it was ultimate laziness, is how to make a knife. I shit you not. I ordered a knife off Amazon. They took the handle off it, and then they lathed and like knifed out another. This is so dumb, because it's supposed to be how to make a knife in a survival situation, but one of the required items to make it was another knife. And then they put a new crafted handle on, and they were like, if you're ever in a survival situation where you need a knife, I hope this helps. And I'm like, are you shitting me?
One of the funniest YouTube channels is I Did a Thing. I don't know if you've watched any of I Did a Thing's stuff.
I love it.
One of his videos is how to make an axe out of wood. How to make a spoon using only a spoon. Basically, he has a spoon, but he wants to make a spoon out of a bit of wood. So he pretty much just uses the spoon to carve a spoon into a bit of wood. He's the same
guy that did the sandpaper treadmill, isn't it?
Sandpaper treadmill, and then Beyblade, industrial-sized Beyblade. I don't know if you've seen this, but the Beyblade is like this big with like metal arms, and he finds like an abandoned house, and he builds a kind of hoist system that holds it in the middle of this room, and he takes off the blade of a chainsaw and attaches paracord to it and kind of revs it, and it spins this Beyblade, and he drops it and he just runs away because this thing is so powerful. It smashes a chair up, it smashes a TV, it just smashes things apart. This dude is hilarious. But one of his videos was how to make an axe using only an axe. So he had an axe and he chopped down a tree, and he carved the bits of wood from the tree into an axe, and then tried to chop down a tree using the wooden axe, and it did not work. He's hilarious. I Did a Thing on YouTube. hundreds of millions of views. Totally worth it. Anyway, ladies and gents, we've been talking for 2.25 hours.
Oh,
it's
God,
been a
really?
long stream.
We have?
We've gone through a lot of stuff. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for joining me. It's been fun. I need to write the Tenchu script and then play some Death Trap Dungeon, which I'm going to hate. Cal, what have you got planned for today or for the rest of the week?
So, today I'm going to chill out because like I say, I've been sorting out my sleep schedule. I've been trying to get some early sleep. It's going really well. I feel like crap doing it, but it'll get better. Tomorrow there will be a Dream World video, which it's not going to become a regular thing again, but I'm going to probably start doing it more often. And then later this month, I actually have a first ever entire sponsored video, which I can't say who it is yet, but it's a company that reached out to me 2 days after I started playing the game that they reached out to me about, and they didn't know that I'd been playing it.
Oh, sweet.
It's an online card game, and I love card games. So they've got a big release coming out soon, which is why I can't tell you who it is. But I'm going to be doing a sponsored video in its entirety, talking about gameplay loops in game design and a lot of stuff like that. And I can't wait for that because I'm really excited about this game. I think it's going to be really cool.
That'd be really good. Right. I mean, I've got to let my cat out because she is mowing to go and let to be fed downstairs. Thank you for joining me, Cal. If anyone in the chat is going to Insomnia 68 in, I think is it April?
April the 18th.
It's less than 2 months away now, guys. Please come and chat to us on Discord. Let us know. We're looking forward to it. There's only going to be 80 spaces available for the Dungeons & Dragons game that I'm running with Cal, so we want to see if you can get there. That would be amazing. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been lovely. Cal, I hope you guys in your stream have had a lovely time as well.
I'm sure they've had a blast as always.
Right, ladies and gents, we will see you. I'll see you on Wednesday for more streams, and then Saturday, and we'll see you for this again next week, next Monday. Take care, good night, and God bless.
Yeah, thank you everyone on my end, and I'll see you tomorrow.